and we're good. Oh, we gotta turn it on.
It'll be
Hi.
me. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm not the usual Alex that's usually here. Um, I'm playing Bunt the Barbarian. Cake themed puns. Now the next Alex can go.
Hi. I'm Aunt Gladys. Alex is dead, and only Aunt Gladys is here, possessing her body today. I'm playing an old lady druid.
Absolutely phenomenal. Chris, if you wouldn't mind going next.
Hi, I'm Chris. Tonight I'll be playing Othniel Friendly, a goblin undertaker,
Mhm.
traveling undertaker, a wizard subclass necromancer. But don't
What?
worry about that.
One more time?
uh, Othniel Friendly, traveling undertaker,
Yeah. Nothing.
wizard.
Nothing strange.
Necromancer.
Excellent details. Yes, and you might want to get that sneeze checked before you have to see an Undertaker. And last but certainly not least, from a steam-powered future past, Humphrey.
Hello, I am Humphrey Wendell Wickham playing Benjamin Hezekiah Munitia, a half elf, half gnome flying postman.
Absolutely phenomenal. And I'm very glad we didn't talk before the session, and I don't know what you mean by flying postman yet. Although, oh wait, no, yes I do. You're
Yes, I sent you pictures.
good. You did. This is good content, right, everybody? Okay. And with that, we actually don't have an introduction video. We are going to be rolling right into the Western action. So I'd like to have everyone in the audience this evening, or anybody watching the stream thereafter, join the players you see before you in journeying all the way back to the magical year of 1861. The place, the lovely town of Interdiction, Nevada. The frosting that was once desired, French buttercream. And for anybody who might be wondering and seeing what page you might have to check in either a 5e or other usual source book, I did say buttercream frosting. For you see, our players are journeying through the Wild West to the city of Interdiction, not being citizens themselves. For you see, they are hired hands, guns for hire for those of them that bear arms, and they are very specifically answering a writ promising no fewer than $2 per day to assist somebody in the process of building out a cake for the interdiction. And what did I write here just to be certain? Yes, the interdiction annual cake bake off. A little bit of lore for everybody. In this version of the Weird West, we, up until about 1822, we're in a universe not too dissimilar to the one that all of you are here sitting in this evening, whether you're playing in this show or you're watching. And right around the year 1822, the universe sneezed. In our reality, of course, things proceeded as you see them now. Cars don't fly, we don't have hoverboards a la Back to the Future. It's sad. But in this other universe, the one in which our journeyers, our adventurers are journeying to interdiction, the sneeze resulted in magic. All of a sudden, portals opened throughout the wide old world. Elves took over the vast majority of Western Europe. They've been slowly expanding into the West across the seas, taking back those pesky colonies that got away so many years ago. And in the city of Interdiction, we are celebrating the Cake Bake Off as part of the annual Repatriation Day. Lovely, lovely Repatriation Day. And with that little quick bit of lore, as we journey into the Weird West alongside our players, I will now have each of you describe the shade of brown, the hue of brown, if you will, of the oversized tumbleweed that is taking you all into the city of Interdiction at a whopping 4 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and start with whoever thinks of their shade of brown first.
I'm gonna go with the solid olive brown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, Aunt Gladys, the elderly grandma-y druid, your tumbleweed is doing exactly as tumbleweeds are described to do. They are bouncing along the road. It's not a paved space. Just because we've had about 42 years of magic in this universe, that doesn't mean that we've reached a point of centralized roadways, cross-country railways, or anything else of that nature. Teleportation is still much too expensive, despite us having almost had a half century of it becoming a vast means of communication between the big cities. But thank goodness magical surges resulted in overly sized flora and fauna because you have these lovely, lovely, and very friendly tumbleweeds that accept a 10-mile journey for just about 5 cents. So you're rolling along in your olive wood shaded tumbleweed, and you can have one additional companion with you if you desire, but they are usually designed for one person each. So there could be a cadre of 4 tumbleweeds bouncing along, or do you have anybody in there with you that acted as your traveling companion?
Yeah, I think Gladys has a little. She's knitting inside of her tumbleweed. No,
Of
and
course.
it's not the best way to knit. Um,
It does have a pseudo gyroscopic nature to
oh,
it. So you, yeah,
nice.
much as if you were in a coach, you are bouncing ever so
I
slightly, but it's sort of more soothing of a rocking motion than anything else.
I think she'll have one of her party members in there with her. I'm going to say Benny is there listening to her ramble on. I
Mhm.
remember back in the day when they first brought in these tumbleweeds and you had to just roll around in them, and sometimes if you were real unlucky, you had to run in them like they were some sort of ball for hamsters. Oh, those were the days.
Now, Benny, I don't want to rob you of your agency. So just to say the calico tumbleweeds are absolutely a possibility in this environment, what shade or hue of brown do you want to lend to this visual before you step into the scene?
Oh, I'd probably say like a dusty brown.
Mhm. Which, fair. Interdiction, Nevada is certainly a dusty place. And you hear that offhanded comment about, back in my day, this is how tumbleweeds worked, even after you could step into them for the first time. How do you respond?
Well, given the fact that Benny would usually be flying most of the time, but let's just say that his rocket boots are having a little bit of trouble. So he's in the carriage, he's just kind of tinkering away with one, going trying to get the strap to do what he needs to do, adjust the dials. And he's like, "Yep, yep, I'm glad I missed those days by like a generation or two.
Oh
It's
yeah.
fine."
Mhm. And you do hear, as if the tumbleweed agrees with that sentiment, just kind of like, yeah, I miss not being ridden in. It kind of like, uh, it whimpers and sort of neighs, horse-like, but not fully as a horse would. So it sort of agrees with the sentiment of those were the days, partner. If you had the spell speak with tumbleweeds, of course, you would gather that's most likely what that sound meant. And now I'll go ahead and turn it over to our other resident usual cast member, Chris. What does your tumbleweed look like as you bound along inside of it?
Oh, I figure this one's a bone brown.
Those classic brown bones, yes.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
bone brown, kind of pale looking thing. It's bouncing along with me, clutching, well, with my bag of holding, or actually saddlebag of holding slung over my shoulder.
Because you just said the words saddlebag of holding, I'm going to go ahead and give you DM inspiration right off the bat.
Oh, yes.
And do you have one of your special companions in there with you, or is there room enough for Bunt, or is Bunt large enough that they best be in their own tumbleweed off to the side?
Oh, Bunt is more than welcome in my tumbleweed. I'm a personable person. My last name is Friendly. So,
Too kind, good sir. To that end, Bunt, is there a little bit of a different shade of brown in this beautiful, totally normal bone brown tumbleweed rolling along next to the olive green and a little gray one? Dusty.
No, right on the money. It's the bone shade of brown that we all know and love bones to be.
Mhm.
Of
Yes,
course.
if you go to a Halloween store, all the skeletons are brown. Please continue.
It's true. Bunt is throwing up as Bunt gets very motion sick and is used to not riding in tumbleweeds, having come from a mysterious land uh, across the sea to investigate this cake baking incident. Um, Bunt has a giant wooden spoon on her back and is currently throwing up into an empty flour bag as Mr. Friendly is talking, as the smell of bodies has probably gotten quite, smell of non-suspicious bag of holding has probably
Yeah.
gotten quite strong in here on the
Mhm.
journey.
Oh, I have you know that the residents of this bag are quite hygienic. Oh my goodness, my dear Bunt. One moment. May I roll? See if I can help Bunt out.
You absolutely may.
All right. I am actually proficient in medicine.
No, it's okay. You don't have to help me. I'll be fine.
That would be a dirty 20.
Ooh. Now, I'm going to speak directly to Chris for a moment, not Othniel. And Chris, I want to invite you to utilize whatever humoristic approach to what medicine probably looks like 140 or 160 years ago, as you execute a pretty decent soothing maneuver for your companion Bunt over here.
Bunt, if I could trouble you, and this might be of some assistance to you. This is a patented small bottle of snake oil remedy. I would, you may drink it if you wish, but I suggest you simply dab a bit under your nostrils and that will settle your stomach.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome.
Just out of curiosity, is this the type of thing that they might need to make a constitution saving throw for? And I ask you, Chris, as the provider of such medication.
No, actually, I'm seriously a doctor. I'm
Okay.
very well. Yeah.
Dr. Othniel.
Although
from
granted, most of my
Apologies.
patients are, dead. But but I don't go out of my way to make them that way. This is actually it's nausea medicine. Think of it like with a lot of mint and jalapeno pepper in it. So don't drink it. Just rub it under your nostril.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Inhale deeply. That should clear things up a bit.
Yes. That should treat the humors just rightly. So you go continuing to bound across the road, having already promised your, let's say, approximately 10 cents, no need to remove it from your inventory, worth of travel fees to the tumbleweeds. And you don't quite know where those coins go once you toss them randomly along the inside, because you never hear them jingling about. You don't get the sense that they fall right out, because you do occasionally see these tumbleweeds spending their wares, having, just certain tines on the weed structure reshoot, if you will. It's similar to, yet distinctly different for species variation, the act of shotting a horse. But you've paid your wares. You've had, in some cases, a productive journey, possibly knitting and or fixing rocket boots, or a friendly, and I mean that as both a last name and a descriptor journey, helping one another get through a potentially bumpy and rough ride, just by way of the nature of not doing well in such travel means. Before we offload into the beautiful, dusty city of Interdiction, Nevada, I will ask, just because I like to mess with him, Humphrey, as Benny, to roll either an Arcana check or a sleight of hand check to see how well you fix this boot before stepping onto the streets of Interdiction.
I'll do a sleight of hand.
Perfect. We're tumbling along.
That is going to be a 22.
Absolutely phenomenal. I have nothing but good things to say about the state of repairs you're putting in as the tumble coach rolls to a stop. It's a thick enough coach to be protective to the environs, which does make it difficult to see outside, but as a legitimate door made of weed tines opens for you with something resembling a latch with the least thorny of the tines possible, swinging outward, you step out and it is a picturesque day in the middle of a desert. As far as the eye can see, there's probably 3 to 7 cacti, but no fewer than, and hear me out because this is a big deal, 12 distinct buildings in this sprawling town of Interdiction. That is to say, 12 intact buildings. You sort of get the sense that the structures on the outskirts weren't burnt down, and they didn't fall down or get destroyed by any means over the last couple of weeks, let alone months. There are aged structures dotting the outskirts of Interdiction, some of which have either new-ish or seemingly abandoned construction efforts going on, with 1 or 2 workers at one site and the supplies, but no workers at another. But you also kind of get the sense that any potential repair efforts to these mysteriously torn down buildings are undoubtedly busy, because draped across 2 of those, and I say again, 12 distinct intact buildings of this sprawling oasis of a city out in the middle of the desert has one big sign that says Happy Repatriation Day. True to form with the writ that you all received promising, and again, $2 per day of work. You do know that you're here to assist with somebody's efforts over at a bakery, although the words on the writ are unfortunately scratched off. You only know that you're looking for a bakery to be able to look upon this work. But somewhere in this town, for a bake-off that seems to be connected to the Repatriation Day festivities, is seemingly a pretty big celebration here in town, for there are dozens of people moving to and fro, and they're putting up numerous elvish-esque decorations. And I say elvish-esque because you get the notion that a lot of people are putting them together from elements that you would find out here in the Old West. If there's only 2 to 7 cacti you can see living out in the wastes, it's because a lot of cacti and steer horns are put together to look like grand, beautiful statues, sylvan in nature, but a little more silver and dirt in nature, if you will. But most people are busying themselves getting ready with a festival. You're looking for a bakery. I know looking through 12 buildings to try to find one that acts in that fashion could be difficult, but I leave it to you all, adventurers that you are, to decide how you want to go about finding the beginning of this journey.
Are
I
we
guess-
deposited? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was like, rock, paper, scissors? So Ben would probably start rummaging through his little satchel of holding, trying to find whatever deliveries he might have in this town or city, and eventually he'll just kind of go, I guess I'll just find the biggest building and hope there's enough people that know where I need to go. So, what's the biggest building?
Biggest building. If you don't mind me being a tour director, a lot of them are actually seemingly 2 stories tall, and you can get a good angle that lets you see all the buildings, but there's enough decoration and enough individuals who have the ability to fly moving about in this probably like 2 to 3 p.m. time of the day with a little bit of dust haze in the air that you can't get a strong sense right at the town entrance. So rocket boots newly fixed, you do a little bit of a 1-2 step hop up in the skies, and on the left side of the street from where you're all currently oriented, about 2/3 of the way down, is seemingly something saloon-esque, if not like a city center, town hall kind of a situation. You'll have to move your way through and undoubtedly be pestered by a lot of lovely festival goers, but that seems like a good place to start if you head on down that way.
Sounds like a good enough spot as any. So yeah, I'll just kind of go, just shoot down, land, and dust myself off again, and just, okay, I guess I'm walking in.
There's
Oh, God.
an incredible amount of dust. Now, important question. You said shoot off and land, and then you just said walking in. Did you beeline all the way down there without the rest of your your hired hands?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to pause that action for just a second. Everybody, without making a perception check, because all of you have passive perceptions that are greater than 2. You do see the straight line that Benny seems to make flying over and through the street, landing inside or just outside of a building that you can kind of see a little bit through the haze and the decorating fervor. Seems to be one of the taller ones on that end of town. Makes probably pretty good sense that that's a good place to start heading down as well. As you begin walking into the crowd, you hear a few barkers, individuals calling for assistance, like, we need that over here before we begin the celebrations, and other individuals already beginning to peddle their wares. They're like, step on over, we got beetle racing going on at 2 tomorrow. I just realized what time I said it earlier, but I'm getting people excited for 2 tomorrow, 23 hours from now. Anyway, people are calling out, come try skill, like tests of skill, hold up a knife against our many-legged knife thrower. Just individuals promising certain challenges and ways in which you can spend money, possibly make some money. They have funnel cakes, and you get the sense that it is unrelated to the cake bake off, but individuals who want to sell just general wares, get excited about what offerings we might have if you try such things. And after the next minute or so, you walk on over, and in that interceding time, just outside of this building, and you do see it's called the Town Hall Saloon, Benny. I will say, for probably just the briefest of moments, you're wondering if this is a city office themed bar, or if it's a building that does act in both capacities, one in which management of this little town occurs, but they also maybe have quite a few varieties of whiskey and other drinks. And I assume you do exactly as you described previously. You want to walk on in?
Well, with that thought process, just be like, oh, I bet myself 20 cents that the mayor is the main bartender, and just push through the saloon doors.
Uh, and Benny, you do possibly kick yourself a little bit at saying those words out loud because I don't know if you've done this to yourself before, but an imp does in fact poof into existence all of a sudden. This imp, of course, seemingly what you would imagine being like part of a modern barber shop quartet. For you see, they're wearing very nice little black pants with spats. They have a shirt with ruffles and a nice striped vest, and they have a very cute little I want to say woven hat, and they say 20 cents, you got it, and poof, right back out of existence. So those soft bets to yourself, unfortunately, do seem to have consequences. You really hope that that's going to be the case. And there is, at the moment, a tie around one finger, reminding you that you have made such a bet. And pushing open the doors, which seem officious because they are large and wooden, and they seem to be pretty solid as if you were walking once again into a pretty decent office style space, nevertheless have decor and a swing action confusingly like that of a saloon that you would see in most films today. And pushing the door open, you do hear that ragtime music playing. And over to the left, there is a stage that does not yet, or possibly not yet today, have any activities going on it. But nevertheless, there is somebody tickling some ivory. There is a bar that seems to be pretty well occupied, probably a good 10 to 12 people currently taking drinks. And that's off to your left with two bartenders back there assisting in the efforts of 3 or 4 servers, helping people out at tables that are spread throughout. Some are occupied, some are not. And off to your right, you see what appears to be a check-in desk and probably about 5 or 6 chairs for anybody who has appointments with persons working upstairs. And one person coming immediately down the stairs that are directly before you, they are grand in nature, has what appears to be a form in one hand and a shot of something brown in the other. And they walk right on up to you, and she says, I want to welcome you to the Town Hall Saloon. Are we here to file a complaint, or are you here for a good time?
I'm here to deliver some mail.
Oh, sounds like you're here to do both. And she hands you a form and the shot, and she goes walking away towards the bar. And sure enough, the form is, it says something along the lines of complaint for vendor cancellation. There's a stamp in the upper right-hand corner that has something to do with the Repatriation Day events, which are meant to begin tonight in just a couple of hours, with the primary events happening tomorrow and the next day. But it's a long form at initial glance that seems to be a way of recompensing individuals who are mad about arriving, only to find that the city doesn't yet have space for rebuilding efforts to put up their stall the way that they might have been promised previously. And doing a quick sniff of the drink, it certainly has some potence to it, but it also has like a nice cinnamony aspect. You do notice, however, that sort of drifting off of it are vapors that are in the shape of crickets hopping away from the glass. It's like very slight a visage of these little like steamy, misty crickets jumping away. And at the moment where you're contemplating the form that you don't think you need to fill out based on your purposes here, and the drink in the other hand, is when your companions walk in behind you. Companions, real quick catch up. It's a pretty efficient looking office space off to your right. Something of a check-in area with a doorway that might lead back to lower level offices to your right. And off to your left is at least the first floor of a pretty decent saloon, and it seems to be picking up in activity as one would expect in a late afternoon such as this. And your companion, Benny, confused.
I assume we're all acquainted with each other.
Yes. You've all worked with each other before. Whether or not you have some grudges you need to work out, or if you feel pretty friendly, especially after that journey, is entirely up to you folks. But you've certainly worked with each other before, and it made sense for you all to come here together to try to seek that $2 per day prize.
I call out to Benny and say, Benny, is there any word on our potential employer? Or did you get a chance to ask anyone about that?
So if we're just a little bit of setting up, like Benny probably set down the shot a little bit and kind of like Marty McFly in Back to the Future 3, just kind of flicking at it just because it's like, it shouldn't be steaming like that. I mean, I just walked in and I was given a form and this shot. So that's about as far as I got.
Oh,
I guess if you need to file a complaint, here's the paperwork for it. I don't know if everyone gets their own shots but
who gave you the form, Benny?
be that gal over there. I assume she's still within sight.
You know, she is in sight, and she actually appears to be doing something of a like negotiation deal. You can tell just by like the hurried nature of conversation, with a bugbear in the corner, and this bugbear does appear to be like janitorial in nature, but not necessarily for the bar, based on the uniform that that they seem to be wearing at the moment. And you can tell that they're probably more in line with the business side of things than they are with the saloon because every couple of seconds, you see what appears to be a pouch of coin transfer from one of their hands to the other, and then a different patch of coins goes to the next person. And then this goes on probably with like 6 or 7 exchanges of pouches, which each look distinct over the course of like 10 seconds of saying, I think over there, and you all stare and look at this person. Doesn't seem to help. Like, you don't necessarily know what she's up to, but she seems to be an official of this location.
Yeah, that gal over there. She handed me the form. Apparently, this is a complaint form.
Well, she appears to be engaged at the moment. I'm not sure if it would be polite to interrupt her, but if there was some way we could get her attention.
Is that an engagement I hear? One moment. And Gladys is going to like reach into her her little old lady purse, which is not a bag of holding. It's just an old lady purse. She's like, I think I got something for an engagement party in here. At least a gift. Be rude.
Oh, I don't think that's what we're here for, Gladys.
Oh.
No, we're looking for the. Oh, I know. Is there a servant? Waiter, waitress, bartender? Any of the above?
I know you're probably all itching to roll some dice, but because you're in a half bar, half office building, I will say no roll necessary. There is one person moving from table to table. It seems as though in conjunction with the 2 servers behind the bar. I might have said 3 previously, but you know, magic is weird. Now there's 2. But there's one person moving about, and you do see there's a little bit of a queue waiting for the office stalls to the right, but there are people in windows helping people to get checked in and see what business they need. So seems like there is a means of seeking help either in the bar or in the office sector.
Just gonna approach one of the servers,
Sure.
and you tug on his pants leg.
Mm-hmm. And you head on over, and that individual goes, Happy Repatriation Weekend. And it's a strange voice on what appears to be just a really mild-mannered human. At least you think so until they turn around. And what's interesting about this individual is that they have a very distinct beard. I said beer. Beard. But they also have their eyes probably about 1.5 inches above the beard, and their mouth is upside down, but their nose is correctly oriented based on the face you're looking at as I describe this. And they're looking down at you in a way that seems unsettling, despite the eyes always looking down at somebody a little bit shorter than they are. For you do see they are probably about a good 6 feet tall, and we haven't described your goblin, but I assume you're shorter than that.
4'3", top hat and tails. Well, not tails. Top hat and black suit, sort of Lee Van Cleef style, except for the top hat.
Excellent.
And I carry a bag of I carry a bag over my back.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Oh, we have a drawing. I know. You're a melodic, hypnotic sand background will hide it.
Yeah, the background tends to eat it. There we go.
Oh.
Get that out.
We're beautiful.
I love it already. Giant spoon and all.
I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't have a picture of you, so I just kind of winged it.
It's
Cool.
All right. He goes, oh, yeah, what can I do for you?
You wouldn't have to know where the bakery is, would you?
Oh, we actually happen to have 2 bakeries in town. Do you by any chance happen to know if which one you're looking for? We have the sweets one and the savory one.
Sweets, I reckon.
Oh, then you're probably looking for Sarah Bastions. She's got Bastions Baked Goods.
Sarah Bastion's Bakery.
Well,
Bastion's Baked Goods.
There you got it. You must be from out of town if you haven't heard of Bastion's Baked Goods and General Provisions. Most people go there for the baked goods, though. So the common nomenclature is just Bastion's Baked. If you want any help with that. To let you know, though, Bastion's Baked is right on over at number 11 Main Street. And
If I go through the door, is that left or right?
and you see them kind of like turn, and when they look back at you, it's not the most unnerving thing in the world, because you do live in a world where, once again, the universe sneezed about 40 years ago, and now magic is present. But they look at you once again with their pseudo upside down oriented face, and they say, I'm a little difficult with my left and rights, but I'm pretty sure you head on out to the right. It's about left. You head on out left. Is it left or is it right? I'm pretty sure it's left, and 3 buildings down.
All right. And
Based on where you are currently, would put you basically at the end of the opposite end of the street from where you came in previously.
now let's see. I got a hankering for something savory.
Oh, yeah.
What's the name of that bakery?
Well, that'll be Mitchell's Meat Wagon. It's actually an overly large wagon. It's almost as if magic had raised one up from the ground and made it real big. It's going to be directly across the street from Bastion's Baked.
That is very convenient. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, of course. Happy to lend assistance. Any other bar business I can take care of for you and your companions? I see a giant spoon. I'm really curious about that.
Well, we have been tumbling across the desert on tumbleweed, no less. I reckon maybe, I'll have a drink.
Perfect. We got just about anything you can imagine. Case in point, and he like points behind the bar, and you see one of the 2 tenders.
Aunt Gladys, Bunt, did you want a drink?
I would love.
Bunt's just taking a second to look around and just goes to Dr. Friendly and goes, Dr. Friendly, this isn't a bakery.
No, but I've been on that damn tumbleweed for hours and I'm parched.
Oh, I take whatever shot it was that Benny had and just drink it.
Oh, yeah. Now,
I mean, I'm not planning on like sitting down or anything. I'd settle for water, actually.
and by the way, the music stops, and every head in the bar turns in your direction at the mention of water. And the server who's been speaking with you for the last moment or so kind of goes, "Hold on there. Do you have water?"
No, I was going to ask you for some.
My God. And, most people in the bar with somebody else. As a matter of fact, you look over at the previous person who had assisted Benny, and now they're whispering in a different fervor. They're still exchanging what appears to be small pouches of coins, but they no longer appear to be discussing a business deal. Now they're speaking fervently about this, just as every other pair or group of individuals in the bar is now looking over at you, whispering. And the server kind of like, just because it seems dramatic, they have their tray in their hands and they like flip it up to be against their chest, and they lean in real tight. So they're speaking to all 4 of you, seemingly at unison, making eye contact with their weird reoriented mouth-eye situation. And they say, "Buddy, we haven't had natural water wells in these parts for damn near 30 years. Not since the sandworm attacks.
How are you not all dead?
We have to eat very specific fruits and melons to get the water out of them, and just about all the alcohol we have." And you consider the shot you just took, by the way, it was a deep amber, and it had a really nice oak and fiery sort of like affect as it went down your throat. And by the way, I do need that Constitution saving throw that I didn't ask for yet, but you did also get the notion that as rich of a flavor as it had, it also seemed a little bit on the watered down side. They're like, yeah, just about everything we order in to interdiction has to have some degree of water or another of water in it. But we can't ever order water directly. The worms take out just about every carriage, every cellar, even all the flying things. Those worms can jump real high. They go after anything that's 100% pure water. You're talking gold, more like. That's how valuable water is out here.
Well,
I got a 19 on the con save.
The 19 on the con save. You feel as though the shot you took pleasantly watery in nature, because again, this seems to be a strange loophole by which people do get their water around these parts. Almost put a little bit of pep in your step. You think about Benny's proficiencies by way of the technology he's crafted for himself, and you almost get the sense for a moment that if you were to, step up on your calves using that massive well of strength you have, you might go off the ground a little bit higher than you normally do. But that notion sort of dismisses itself because you see, you're just too damn hardy, and that grasshoppery feeling goes away all of a sudden.
Hmm.
First taste of hop juice, huh? I saw that look.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to fly, but Benny said he could never make boots that could lift me because I was too heavy.
Wow. You do look pretty sturdy. And perhaps it's just a manner of expertise on this individual. And he tries not to be patronizing about it, but he does give you a little bit of a pat on the top of your half gnome, half elf head. And he goes, I actually feel pretty strange about doing that. Why don't I go get you an ale? I can get you an ale, or I can get you some soup. And he winks back at you, Bunt, specifically because of the giant spoon you have. Yeah. Oh shit. Before I walk away to potentially get you something along those lines, Fran, he looks back at you, Othniel, and he goes, I wish I could get you straight water, Fran. If you wanted a sarsaparilla or anything else that, to be fair, does have water in it, we could absolutely help in that respect. But we cannot, despite our wishes, assist you with straight water.
Can I?
Sarsaparilla is just fine, thank you.
You got it.
You guys don't mind if I indulge myself, but I just want to.
Oh,
I pay
no,
for it.
you go ahead. I would like some tea. And Gladys reaches into her old lady purse and pulls out a teacup, but inside the bottom of the teacup that says just gin, and she hands it to the server.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah. Just
Now I have to wonder, is that wrought into the porcelain of the cup, or is that something that you hastily sharpied?
Oh no, it's glazed into it.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And he looks down and you just get a gentle you got it. Tea will be right out. And walks away, and by the way, never got an answer as to whether or not he's bringing back an ale or a soup, and didn't super check with Bunt. And it takes the better part of 40 seconds to a minute. People are still occasionally looking over at you all for the scandal that you brought up by the audacious request for something as simple as water. But the server does eventually make himself known to the bar again, coming back out, and there's 3 cups of soup of what appear to be differing sources. One really tall ale, it'd be the equivalent of the hobbits getting a pint back at the Green Dragon Inn. Or I guess the Prancing Pony. I'm mixing up my Tolkien. Somebody's going to lambast me for that later, and it will probably be my girlfriend. But ale, 3 mugs of soup of differing sizes, and there's a steaming cup of gin in the teacup. It is hot. I think he thinks he needed to go for some degree or another of a farce to help you, mask what it is that you received. But you do have everybody's favorite beverage, hot gin.
Just like my mother used to make. Thank you. I'll take it. May the gods rest her soul.
Oh, yes. Which ones? Nope, too personal. All right, I'm going to go. The server just takes off.
What kind of soup is it? I sniff the soup.
Well, it's broccoli cheddar 3 ways.
I'm lactose intolerant. Benny, here, take this extra soup.
Awesome, thanks.
Mhm.
And by the way, I'm sorry. It's just I know my boots won't lift you, but you need something more like a backpack. And I can't make that right now, but maybe later.
It's okay. It's okay. It seems very dusty, and the backpack will probably get clagged up. So I'm just going to drink this giant beer that I'm sure won't dehydrate me further.
No, that's not how beer works. Benny, really quick, if I could have you make just, actually, I'll ask you for an investigation or an arcana check just go for it.
Before I do that, just kind of turn back to Bunt and go, I do have an eldritch cannon I can conjure. That might get you off the ground. For science.
But when you say for science, that's when things usually explode.
And
what he said. But it's
Shut up,
unproven.
random guy. This doesn't concern you.
Look,
you just like a random kobold who is also like lingering in the vicinity, just like abruptly begins to cry and goes storming out of the bar town hall.
I push him away with my giant spoon towards the exit.
He goes faster. He falls. It's sad.
I mean, what we could do is if we can find a rock that weighs about the same as you do, strap it to that, see what happens. But anyway, I'll go ahead and roll that Arcana.
Or investigation.
23.
23. You get the notion that, and by the way, I hate that I'm doing this now because I love the idea of a cannon better, but if you were to spend some dedicated time putting together sort of like a backpack vest combination, the biggest issue with Bunt at the moment, having potentially tried a version of boots and failing, is that they're just not dexterous enough at present for the sources of thrust for such like a strong person to be able to like stay upright coming directly from the bottom of their feet. Like a little bit more poise might be needed, much as what you have to pull something of that nature off, but maybe like a back vest situation, like front back. And you have to understand too that if it's propulsion based at all, that will burn at least one half of their lower body.
I didn't say it was good science.
Oh yes.
You know, being
Benny-
half gnome, I'm a little more nimble than the average person.
Benny, I'd like to revisit my idea of putting thrusters or rockets on my giant spoon and then riding it like a broomstick, like a spoon stick. Is this viable for science?
Yes, we can totally strap my Eldritch Cannon to like the bowl of the spoon, have you kind of mount it and see what happens.
Yes. This is why they pay you this very average bucks.
I am a postman for a reason.
I still am not sure what it is you do.
You are familiar with mail, right?
Like
People sending
like,
letters to each other?
I just usually yell.
Okay, let's say you can't yell far enough, but you
Uh-huh,
want to like
okay.
yell on paper and then send that
Whoa.
paper to someone that's like a town over. You know, that's actually an idea. You enchant the paper to yell at people. I think that exists. I think it's called a howler.
I think it's called Yell Pages.
Um,
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Bunt, you can go and take some Dungeon Master inspiration.
Thank
Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of what I do. I transport letters, packages. You know, let's say you want to send some gold back home, but you don't trust Pony Express or anything that way, but you can trust me because I fly direct.
Well, Benny, you're really cool. Why didn't you tell me this before?
I don't know.
You're silly.
The
Yes.
kobold leans back in through the confusing doors, and they shout, "It must not have come up previously!" And then they go running away again.
And then I just keep pushing him out of the saloon doors. There's now a giant spoon wedging the saloon doors open so no one can come in or out of these doors.
I wonder if you can play cricket with them, and they're the ball.
I
The spoon could work.
think that might bring up some trauma for Dr. Friendly. He might not like that.
Well, I do.
Nothing.
Oh no, I'm hearing all of this talk about rockets on your spoon and Bunt, and I just wanted to make sure you had one of these. It's just a consent form making sure that I can handle your remains after you are don't need them anymore.
What language is it written in?
It is written in Goblin, of course, or as we call it, Goblin. Yeah.
Some of
I
that
can't
new-
read this.
Mhm.
Oh well, I will. We can go over this some other time.
Okay, you just like tell me, and then I'll punch the piece of paper, and it will probably do something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But definitely, before you strap rockets to your spoon.
I'll
Are we
Okay.
done? Am I done? Have I
finished off the sarsaparilla?
You have, and to be fair, unless you would ask for it to be, you know, emboldened, it's non-alcoholic, so it's especially refreshing, sort of like orange cactus-based drink.
Ooh.
And if I could have anybody who's curious make a history check very quickly as the Dungeon Master says the word cactus out loud.
Sure.
6.
That's such a solid 9.
I have a 15.
Okay. We're gonna see if anybody else wanted the roll before I say the results, but no pressure. We could leave it at Chris.
Just some clarification. So Benny now has like 2 like tankards of cheddar broccoli soup. Right? Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
At which point he's just not paying attention. He's just kind of double fisting it. Just
Oh yeah. Well, and they, for the record, they were broccoli cheddar soups 3 different ways. You had a sharp cheddar base, sort of like a mature white cheddar base, and then cheddar specifically made from tumbleweed milk base.
Ooh. You're gonna grow up big and strong.
Mm-hmm. That one could argue that that would be the sharpest of the tastes between the 3. None of which are bad. They're precisely how you would imagine tumbleweed milk cheddar to taste. And in this universe, that's not bad. Yeah. And with a 15 on the history check, I will go ahead and say Othniel begins to wonder if perhaps one of the primary reasons for which cacti were not in abundance within view of the outskirts of interdiction had less to do with decorations for the interdiction day and more for, they probably had to harvest a lot of those for water. Whether it was drinking directly from the plant or if it was squeezed, flattened, what have you, as a means of making all the sarsaparilla. Looking about the bar, by the way, you don't feel as though you're being punked because nobody seems to have a clear glass, unless that clear glass is, I don't know, is that tea?
I share this with my companions, and placing the glass back on the counter, I did mention I already paid for it, for however much it is, and
Oh yeah.
shall we be off to Bastion's baked goods if we're all done with our libations?
Oh, wait, I have some gifts for you all. And she
Oh.
reaches into her bag and she pulls out what can only be described as what if Labubus were made out of wicker, and she hands one to each of you. Here you go. A little toy to make this trip more fun for everybody.
I will treasure this forever.
Bun's looking at this toy, and you can see the look on her face of just going, I really want to throw this into the desert and never see it again. And starts to crush it, but then just looks at Aunt Gladys and goes, thank you.
You can put it on your saddlebags. You can put it on your belt. It's a fashionable little bit of decoration. All the kids back east are loving it.
Can I do an insight check on this wicker voodoo Labubu and see if it's wanted?
I was waiting for an appropriate time to ask exactly for that.
Cool.
Yes. Please make an insight check.
Dirty 20. Is this haunted by an evil spirit? Will it kill me in my sleep?
So I'm going to go back in time about 20 seconds to a point where you were staring at it, thinking the thoughts, I want nothing more but to discard this into the desert. And as you think about that in the briefest moment before throwing on a smile and thanking Auntie Gladys, you hear in your mind a voice so dissimilar to your own and whispering, do it. I dare you to do it. See what happens.
I
I'll get you. If you throw me, I'll get you.
Auntie Gladys! It's speaking to me!
Want a cute sweater.
It should be talking to you about all.
I start drowning it into one of the remaining soups. I just start pushing it in the cup.
Now, it's important for me to say that none of you hear this out loud, but now shouting in your mind a bunch is the distinct sound of trying to speak and or struggling to breathe underwater of just in your mind's ears.
Oh god, I pull it
Um,
out. I pull it
no-
out. I pull it out. I pull it out. I pull it out.
And this makes sense because Benny, unless you had a third arm akin to gnome and elf mating that I was not aware of, could only be double fisting soups, leaving one out on the table. So one of those soups, which had a little bit of steam coming off of it because it was a hot, freshly prepared soup. And then I think about the ramifications yet again of saying the server was only gone for like a minute, and he came back with 3 piping hot and distinctly different flavored and cheese-based soups. It's magic. We're just gonna go with it.
Oh, he's just rotating.
Yeah. Well, the soup that was left on the table for this brief drowning to occur is now boiling yet again. As you see, soup splattering without seemingly no movement of the Labubu.
Or they're just like little pieces of wicker sticking out the top.
Mm-hmm.
I run. I run out the double doors. I leave. I run
Alright.
away.
That's a wrap on Alex Harvey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this session. No, I'm kidding.
I run out the in-world saloon doors. And just I'm like, guys, I'm gonna wait out here. I think I killed the devil.
Do you bring the cheddar Labubu with you, or is the
No,
cheddar
I
Labubu
leave
still
it.
in the soup tube? Yes. Okay.
I leave that shit where it's supposed to be, which is away from me.
Oh
It's
my
okay,
goodness,
I'll-
she left her little wicker labubu.
I'll bring
this
it.
this is not the tangent I was expecting to happen, but the 3 of you remaining in the scene, you do see like a solid state of like soup now hovering up out of the mug, and you see it all begins to melt off as a slightly scoured and a little bit singed little wicker Labubu is now floating in place, giving off like an aura that's causing glasses in the vicinity to like vibrate, and then it just like hovers back over and lands in Aunt Gladys's hand, and it looks perfectly fine once again.
Ah, well, I'll make sure you get back to your person. I'm sure she just forgot it.
And you know, you hear, I've decided that you've probably been doing this long enough that you know precisely what they sound like in your mind. I won't dictate that. You hear what it says to you in response.
Hmm.
Quiet. Now, outside the building, once again, directly outside the affably named the Town Hall Saloon, you do run immediately into a rather large rocking chair, or okay, it's a rocking chair with spurs on the back end and what appears to be a belt around the section that people would usually sit on, and there is a hat atop it. The hat does unfortunately go tumbling to the ground, and you hear, "Watch it, darling!" As the chair kind of like stumbles and bumps forward ever so slightly. And as it turns around, you do notice a star on the chair back, and what appears to be like sort of like wood knot eyes and the upper like arms of the chair back. And it's very important for me to say out loud that the star does in fact read Cherith. It appears as though you have bumped into the town Cherith. And
He must die! He must die! The pun is the lowest form of humor! What are you doing? I say that on the inside. On the inside.
And she goes, "Yeah, better watch yourself running around. It's quite the busy street tonight." And it leans over and, completely mystifying you without moving the chair arms, the hair just kind of like flops back up onto its head as it brings itself upright once again and facing you. And it just kind of says, "Now I know we got a lot of visitors coming to town this weekend, but haven't seen you." Or looks through the doors, which once again very solid. You would imagine they would close like an office door would, but they're swinging ever so slightly like a saloon door. Sees your companions inside, admiring Cheddar Demon, and says, "Haven't seen your for lack of a better term, your partners either. What brings you into town? Bumping into me that way, you're not here for nefarious purposes, are you?"
I'm here for cake.
Oh,
I come to help with cake, and I'm so sorry that I bumped into you. So holding the spoon, I'm so sorry I bumped into you. I think I just drowned a devil in some soup that my friend gave me, and now I'm scared.
oh, yeah. Well, you're coming out of the town hall saloon, so that's not the strangest thing I've heard about it just today. Say, you weren't making any bets in there, were you? The building seems to take that rather seriously.
No, I think my
Okay.
friend did though, and he's not good at
Dang it.
gambling. So that's
Well,
unfortunate for him.
luckily for your friend, we still have quite a few empty cells with comfy beds tonight. If he finds himself in there, you can't go running out on those beds once they're established. Anyhow, if you're here for cake, you must probably have heard of the Cake Bake Off happening tomorrow. Everybody in town's getting real excited about it. Can't wait to show off what I made.
Bunt really thinks about asking more questions about how a chair made cake. But Bunt thinks better of that and just goes, "That sounds delightful. I think my friend said that it was either that it was right. The man thought it was left but was right, or thought it was right but it was left. The sweet one, the sweet bakery."
Oh, you're looking for the bakery. Yeah. Let's see here. And fully rotates to your left. And she's facing the opposite end of the street from which you had originally come. And she goes, "Yeah, Bastion's Bakes is going to be right on down the street on the left. If you're looking for the bakery, you'll want to head there."
Oh, well, thank you. What's your name, Lady Sheriff?
My name is Sarah Cherif.
Sarah Sheriff. It
Yeah.
was lovely to meet you, and I go to like shake an arm of the chair.
And sure enough, it like pops free of the wooden support at the front, and like gently rests in your hand for a moment, and you get like a little bit of like a bend grip of the wood in your hand. Gives a hearty shake. Goes, "Much obliged, and hey, stay out of trouble this weekend." And she goes tottering off, exactly how you would imagine like a chair would walk, sort of a two-leg wobble, because the rocker nature makes it a two-legged structure. Heading down the street with a little bit of a whistle in her mouth.
Bunt starts having an existential crisis about how any of this works and was distracted from the tumbleweed earlier, and then she heard them say tumbleweed milk and is sort of just spaced out outside, existentially wondering how any of this works and maybe in a personal hell.
I believe that is the most strange and unnatural thing I have seen in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Which part, Dr. Friendly? Was it the animate chair or was it the wicked doll that became a cheese demon in some soup? Because I'm very confused.
I believe it was the chair. I did not witness the wicker doll turning into a demon. My goodness. I'm sure Gladys never intended any harm to you, though. Not to
No.
mention, what's with the heads and the faces of all of the people of this town? They look as though they've been. I mean, does the lack of water do that to you? Maybe it's the cactus. Drinking.
Which one? There were three.
I'm wondering if there's some sort of arcane effect of all of the strange plants in the area that they've been subsisting on that has slowly turned them into furniture and flip-faced humans.
Are we on drugs?
We are now. We just drank the same crap that they do.
Well, I thought I could fly for a second, but then I couldn't, and I think that's what taking drugs is like. But I'm not sure.
Oh, I can assure you, it is a very euphoric feeling. I've heard people say.
Bunt, I'm gonna ask you to just take a quick jump. You don't need to roll any dice. Up. Sure enough, you jump the same height you always do, and it's not different.
Bun starts crying.
And by the way, it's right about this time, Auntie Gladys, that somebody comes out from the saloon behind you guys, and she rests a hand gently, like the back of her hand against your elbow, just trying to indicate her presence. And she goes, "I'm sorry. Did I hear your companion talking about trying to find something for the bake-off?"
Yes, we're trying desperately to find the bake-off. My companions seem to not know where we're going. Having missed most of the conversation.
No, I completely understand that. If I can be of any assistance, though, I'll let you know that the bake-off happens tomorrow. Just about everybody in town is trying to get ready for it. I know I sure am. Mm-hmm.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah. Well, if y'all are visiting and you don't have anything going on, like if you're just here for the bake-off and you got like a free evening, I might need some help. Otherwise, I wouldn't. We are literal strangers. I recognize that. I wouldn't want to intercede, especially because they got some other fun stuff going on this evening. Should you be able to help though? By all means. And she, from a satchel she has on her side, she pulls out a sheet of paper, And gosh darn if it doesn't look like a brand new version of the writ for work you guys brought into town with you. The one that is on slightly faded paper, ink had worn away for some reason or another. And briefly looking at it, you see the full and complete writ reading "Help Wanted, able-bodied acquisition specialists with a penchant for discretion. $2 per
Oh,
day on the
shut up.
job."
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. $2 per day on the job. Number 10, Main Street, interdiction. And she goes, "Thank you so much." And again, if you find yourself looking for any work, or if you're a little bored and you got nothing else going on, I'm down at the Shoemaker.
I raise a
What you
hand.
need? Mhm.
Would you happen to be
Can we hold? Hold for just 1 second. Hold for 1 second. We lost sound. I think it's because I switched my headset. One moment. Yeah. One moment. Give me 1 second. Okay. One moment. Thank you for DMing me. Aunt Gladys is not good at technology. It's I don't know what.
Nice. I don't know, Aunt Gladys does seem pretty wild. Oh. Aunt Gladys would love my hometown. It's crochet bags and knitting as far as the eyes can see.
Of a hot moment.
Yes.
Nah.
Yes. 5 seconds.
Puns.
And it doesn't matter where we end up on the stream, because there ain't no names nowhere.
Everyone else is food. Oh, okay. Appreciate the input, James. All right, welcome back, everybody. We heard that we might have actually lost some sound.
That was because Aunt Gladys had to change her headset because one set was dying and she doesn't know why because it was charging all day.
These things, they do happen. As a little
Now
bit of
the
a catch
best
up.
question is where did the sound cut out exactly? How much do we need to recap?
Who the fuck knows?
Well, our intrepid heroes in all the heroic antics that they've taken thus far have arrived at the shoe stall in town of Augustine Shoemaker, who appears to be the person who had sent out the writ originally. We were just about to find out the details of the job. 1 hour and 17 minutes into the session, so pretty classic Dungeons and Dragons. And as soon as we get Chris back, we will dive right back in. Hey, speak of the guy. Don't want to say speak of the devil, because there are devils in the scenario, and Chris hasn't.
Devil's in the suit.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you all for your patience with our tech processes. We find ourselves back in the action at Shoemaker and Sons. And as Augustine is taking you back to the counter so that she would be a little bit far back in case a customer needed to come in without showing them or stopping them from coming in entirely, she begins to lay out her plans. Augustine says, all right, well, I won't lie to you all. This is a little bit of a time-sensitive matter, and I know I promised $2 per day for the work that might be needed ahead of the cake bake-off, or the cake bake-off. That is, of course, tomorrow, but knowing what I'm asking of you is actually quite dangerous. I want to promise you all 4 days paid work. And you think about that for a moment. She is promising $8 to each of you in exchange for completing the job that she's about to lay out for you all. And she continues, yes, 4 days paid work. For you see, the one thing I want my cake to have that none of the other cakes will have tomorrow is water. And she looks at each of you expecting like a dramatic reaction, which doesn't come. And she goes, oh, I only just barely came in from the office side of the building as you were heading out of the saloon. Perhaps you hadn't heard, interdiction has a little bit of an issue keeping water on hand. People for the last couple of years ahead of the bake-off have done their best to create their confections without the substance, but I believe I've found, based on historical records, a source, a well that has been untapped that the sandworms can't get to. And if I could have, aspiring adventurers, hired guns such as yourselves, go and fetch some for me, well, if it's brought back in a timely enough manner and I can get it into the bake before it attracts the worms to come destroy the town again, then we might just have a cake with water for the first time in years. One that very well could take that cake bake-off.
It's not going to turn into a person, is it? Or talk?
Oh, heavens no. Well, I don't assume so. You see, and this is the dangerous part. It's actually the one for which I didn't determine myself to have the specialties to go address myself. The well in question appears to be on top of a natural uranium deposit. Now, I will go ahead and say, for the sake of the audience, uranium wasn't known to the human race, at least in its innate form, until many years after 1861. It's very present in water and minerals throughout the planet and has been for a very, very long time, but it wasn't until people went looking for it that they really knew what they were getting their hands on. Since this is a magical world, and magic's been a big part of the world for the last 40 some odd years, you better believe people have figured out what uranium is and potentially does, and it is dangerous. So back into the action, Augustine is asking for you all to go collect some water from a radioactive site. Again, I'm willing to pay very handsomely for this dangerous ask. I've even heard that adventuring individuals such as yourself can heal most maladies just by going to bed for the evening. Surely you're up to such a task of being exposed to, and again, I'll say, radiation.
Once again, is this something we're familiar with, or at least is Friendly familiar with it, Dr. Friendly? Like, does he know about radiation?
Do me a favor. I'll call this an Arcana check.
All right.
The radiation is kind of magic in this context.
On the roll.
And we might be borrowing from some Fallout source books.
Ugh. Okay, maybe someone else needs to roll Arcana. That's a 7, and my Arcana is +6. So
No. 13, especially with proficiency, is more than sufficient for you to have heard of uranium. You don't know a great deal about it, You do know that it has interesting magical uses, at least as far as being used as a component is concerned, and that it's dangerous to source. It can be refined to be less dangerous, but finding it in nature in abundance can be quite dangerous.
More importantly,
Mhm.
what effect does uranium have on water?
I'm going to speak in character. Augustine says, the water itself should be fairly safe. Uh, Near as I can tell, water can actually act as something of a grounding agent. If it's in direct contact with the uranium, it can actually be on a little bit of a dangerous side. But once it's brought away, especially once you begin using it in a cooking process, then it can actually be quite safe. It's decent for consumption, I think.
Well, you had me at $8. I just wanted to,
Oh yeah.
scope of the problem down. So you'll provide us with a map of the location of where this water can be found. And it's probably doubtless somewhere hazardous with some hazardous creatures protecting it. I mean, water is a necessity in Nevada. So I reckon you've got some pretty nasty critters guarding it. And it's also radioactive. Well, there's radiation present.
Well, as luck would have it, I was just back over at the Town Hall Saloon renewing my checkout of the local area historical records. That way, I actually still have these maps on hand. And she slides across the work table from her satchel, the same one that she brought the copy of her readout from, what appears to be a geographical survey of closed down mines, dated all the way back to probably like 1792, when people began to just barely start to trickle out here, not necessarily part of westward expansion and certainly not necessarily part of the actual United States just yet. There is records of silver and other rare mineral mines dotted throughout the area. And she very carefully places what appears to be sort of like a leather thread from shoemaking purposes onto the map and forms a circle around one of the sites that appears to be probably only about like an hour's journey, a couple of miles on foot, or much shorter if you were to take, a horse or tumbleweed, which is available in abundance, out to the site. And she goes, this mine in particular appears to be the site, at least according to these records, and she places some records on the table that seem to be rather detailed for geological survey purposes, what appears to be done by the local banks. Says, yeah, it actually seems as though it could be a decent site for those minerals as well, but I'm not nearly as interested in them as I am in the potential source for unadulterated uranium-laden water.
Benny, you know how to read a map, I reckon, you being a post person and all.
I like to think so.
And Aunt Gladys, well, it's outdoors, so you're fine. Bunt, I reckon it's outdoors again. Well,
I was hoping I'd find specialists such as yourselves. You all know how outside works.
Oh no, I'm very much an indoor goblin. But that being said, she had me at $8. How about the rest of you?
Yeah, better than a postman's wage.
Uranium's bad, right?
Oh yes,
Always.
but avoidable according to her.
Cool.
It's totally safe once it's safe. I promise you.
We're gonna
I
die.
trust you. You seem like you know what you're talking about.
Damn you, arcane check.
Bunt twists the spoon and now it becomes a giant spork.
Ooh, my heavens. That is quite the contraption you have there. Okay, what's this thing made of again? Is it wood?
No, it's a giant metal spork.
Oh, I love this. All right. No, I think I missed that detail earlier. That's rad as hell. Okay. She goes, yeah, abs, wonderful. Well, yeah, I'd be happy to, let's see. I have the finances if the maps don't come back to me to be able to pay the appropriate fees. There's some really, really bad imps over there. You don't necessarily want to go messing around with the imps at the Town Hall Saloon. But yeah, I can pay the necessary fees should this map not come back. I'll be happy to send it with y'all. That way you know the direction you're heading in. And she makes a point of like affixing the ring that she made out of a leather thong on the map site just to be able to indicate once again. And then she charts the location of your guys' town, which was not on this specific map. And she says, yeah, if you were to head in this direction, you can take the main road back out. I believe it's going to be on the opposite side of the town from where we are presently. I don't know where you came in initially, but if you head in this direction, and she spends the next minute or two kind of laying out the path as well as key landmarks for you to take if you were to head out to this mine in particular. And she goes, what about anything else you might need? I cannot stress the importance of making this cake to you all. I'm very happy to assist in whatever means might be necessary.
How are we set for? Well, yeah, I've got my pack. I mean, I'm set for rations, supplies. And if worse comes to worse, well, we got Aunt Gladys with us. I reckon we're not going to starve or be crushed by the weather.
Oh my goodness, you would eat your companion, Aunt Gladys.
Oh, no.
That reminds me of stories from my girlhood back in old Appalachia. Sometimes it would just get so cold, you'd have to make some real big choices in life.
Like you used to eat each other when you got lonely, right?
Just stares into the middle distance like Aunt Gladys is having a Nom flashback.
Like, and when you say nom, you mean like N-O-M for eating?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of Gladys's other eating out story that she told me one time. Never mind.
That was a wild time, I'll tell you what.
Nobody has to roll insight when you see Augustine's cheeks flush pretty brightly. And by the way, from previous things that were said, I'm going to go ahead and grant Idly some Dungeon Master inspiration.
That was
Yes.
before I could remove my teeth, too.
Her blush becomes full red. It's no longer hints of rose on her cheeks. Her face is fully red. Yes.
You're a naughty auntie.
My goodness. And then
I mean,
you
I've
just see
lived a
she like
long
walks away into
time.
the back room for a minute, and you're just kind of like, wow, does she need a moment? But when she comes back out, she has a basket and she goes, I do have some preserved tumbleweed cheese in case you need additional provisions. I wouldn't want you all to turn to such matters while you're out there. Again, I cannot stress this enough. It's like an hour away. You're not far from whatever civilization we have here. I would hope you wouldn't have to resort in that distance to consuming each other. But just in case, here's a little extra cheese.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you kindly.
Oh yeah. And for the record, because the other one was in soup form, tumbleweed cheese does look like a cheese emoji, if you will, but it does have the occasional like stick made of cheese shape protruding from it.
Bunt starts having another existential crisis about these tumbleweeds.
And just an aside to Bunt, you of course came to the West seeking a better understanding of something or a sort. Are you getting the information that you want?
I'm getting all of the information so far, apart from the information that I wanted. I came here just to investigate baked goods, and so far I've drowned the devil and met a chair that talked to me that's also a sheriff called a sheriff, and found out that wood can somehow make cheese. And Bunt doesn't have the intelligence or the capacity to process any of that well in this moment of time.
Augustine goes, "Ha, you're silly. You need not worry. It's stick cheese, not wood cheese."
You seem like a nice lady.
You're too kind. All my Western characters are Southern.
We have a different South where I come from, and it's much less confusing than this one.
Oh, where are you from?
Just over the sea, in a place that I'm sure here likes very much, but our cheese is slightly different, and sticks don't make milk, and we're gonna go to the mines. We're gonna get some uranium for you.
Hold on.
Some uranium water, some water that's filled with totally safe uranium that you can use to make food.
You almost brought out her masculine, non-Southern voice for a second. That was a very important point of clarity. If you brought back uranium, I do, unfortunately, real world reference, I do believe cake uranium is a thing. And that's not the kind of cake she wants to make. This is a real simple, just trying to bake a cake with water situation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, just before we go, what kind of cake are you making?
Oh, shoot. That's more of a Sam shoot than it is an Augustine one. She goes, I'm actually trying something a little different. And she pulls out some lemons and they look just a little bit desiccated. And she goes, I'm hoping for something like a lemon vanilla cake base. And I lost my accent again. There it is. All right, like a lemon vanilla. And I'm going for like a buttercream, but I'm hoping that I might be able to use some of the cactus to infuse the buttercream. We got sort of like a cactus lemon situation going on. And with actual water, it doesn't matter if those flavors don't sound right going together. It'll be better than any other the non-water cakes that are being submitted tomorrow. Let me tell you.
I come from a long line of cake beaters and I would like to assist you in this task, but after I've overcome my confusion of being in a strange new land and a strange new place. Yes.
Well, once we get the bacon, and the sooner I get that water back, the better. I can do some magic, and you see she like lifts off the ground for like 3 solid seconds with her hair floating out beyond her, and out of her left hand pours like 3 assorted shoes, but in her right hand forms just like a cute little cupcake. She goes, "I can do stuff like that, but you actually can't submit magically made things in the cake bake off. That's the deficit of the situation." And it's only when she explains that she stops hovering and she hands over the cupcake.
Oh, I have a question. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have a container?
Oh, what sort of container are you looking for? And she opens up
What
a
are you
cabinet
looking
and
for?
it is chock full of like glass vials, glass jugs, and all sorts of stuff. She goes, "Yeah, Pappy had a bit of a drinking problem, and for some reason I loved collecting the vessels." So,
How much water do you need?
oh shucks, that is a good question. I suppose just to be safe, in case he jostles about in the journey back to town, let's go with like a gallon. And she reaches for what appears to be just a good old fashioned moonshine jug. And she like peels the paper off with the 3 X's, and she goes, "Best not be too cliche." And she hands it over to you. She goes, "Yeah, about that much."
Alrighty. I don't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, you will, and just stick it in his satchel of holding.
Phenomenal.
All right.
If there's anything else, otherwise, I don't mean to rush you. You're so nice to be helping me, but we are losing daylight, and I gotta have this cake ready for tomorrow. $8 a piece.
I'm ready. Y'all ready?
Dr. Friendly, would you like to ride in the jetpack formation we have practiced?
Describe
You,
it.
it, you just get on my back like a jetpack. I was trying something new.
Oh, well, until we leave the town, there's something I need to do before we leave.
Oh,
But I would be more than honored, Bunt.
cool.
I'll get on.
So leaving Shoemaker and Sons, what errand is it that Dr. Friendly needs to take care of before departing for the mine?
I need to take out my Undertaker assistants.
Oh, yes. You're going to do that in town, or are you going to do
Oh,
that?
no, hell no. No.
And just out of curiosity, are we making the journey on foot, or are we going to do so with the assistance of either proffered horses, or are you going to hire an additional set of tumbleweeds? One of you can fly.
Oh, we can
Yeah,
hire
there's can-
tumbleweeds for such a short. How much does the tumbleweed cost?
But they seem to be rather business minded because they have a 5-cent minimum, but 5 cents will get you 10 miles. And you're about to make $8. So
How's that sound? You want to take the tumbleweeds instead?
We can.
As long as I don't have to think about anything while we get there, yes.
Oh, I hand you the vial. No, sorry, my flask, and I say, you
Oh.
hold on to that. I know you get upset, Bunt,
Oh,
by tumbleweed travel.
Bunt, by the way, I did notice that you forgot your toy at the table. Don't worry, I brought it.
it looks pristine, the same way that it was initially handed to you, which is shocking because you knew that it was burning as you stuffed it into the not boiling, but then all of a sudden roiling soup. The only thing that you noticed for like half a second, and you're not sure if it was a trick of the eye, it appears as though it had like searing eye holes for the briefest of seconds as it looked at you. Wait, it can't look at you. It's not alive. It was just pointed at you. But it is being presented again. Yes.
Trust me,
All right.
you'll want what? You'll want it with you.
Are
Especially.
you sure? Are you sure it's not the devil, Gladys?
I'm sure it was made with only love and wicker, and maybe some human teeth.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll cherish it for an amount of time I deem necessary. Thank you.
I put it in the pocket closest to my heart.
Okay.
Now, as you head out of town, a few things happen. One, you were able to hire on a couple of passing tumbleweeds, and they do take care of business dealings such as these themselves. These ones are, there's one that's a little bit larger than what you had previously, and then another that matches the approximate sizes of the ones that were with you. And it actually appears to be either a bonded mating pair or like a child-parent situation. It's difficult to say if you don't have Speak with Tumbleweed prepared. But they take their money. You roll probably only about like a half mile out of town. Then the exchange of devil idolatry occurs at the same time as Dr. Friendly's business. And we'll get to that in just a moment. As you hop out of the cart, you do notice you are 20 cents richer, Benny. And you swear that as you were rolling out of town limits, you heard sort of like a, "aw, man," in the distant recesses of your mind that you didn't think about until exiting the cart, but you do have an additional 20 cents in your pocket. Chris, if you wouldn't mind describing Dr. Friendly's process of bringing out his assistants, I think I need to go check my door really quick. So you can describe that, and then I'll just have to guess at whatever it is you described when I get back.
All right. I'll break open the satchel of holding and extricate 4 skeletons. Remove 4 skeletons from the satchel. 3 shields and 3 short swords, 1 bow, and 1 quiver of arrows. And then I will clap, ring a bell, and say, "Up, gentlemen and ladies." Actually, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And I have previously cast Animate Dead on these skeletons, and they come to. I have taken time also with to paint the skeletons in the manner of how should I put it? Not local because we're in Nevada, but I'm originally from the New Mexico, Arizona region, so they're painted in the manner of Aztec skulls and skeletons.
Do they have names?
Oh no, I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Paul, John, George, and Ringo. Oh no, I
Ringo's
can't do that because it's ladies and gentlemen. All right,
Pauline.
Pauline, Georgina, Ringo, and John. And 3 of them receive short swords and shields, and 1 of them receives a bow and arrows.
Ringo.
And I put the 4 skeletons in front of us.
Excellent. I'll go ahead and shift things in time then to being the case that you probably would have stopped to bring out the skeletons much closer to the mine. That way you're not cramped into each of these tumbleweeds with probably 2 skeletons each for too long of a journey. And for the record, for the final, let's call it like mile that the journey would take in the tumbleweeds or inside the tumbleweeds with the skeletons, it's never been a bother in all your time traveling in tumbleweeds throughout the Weird West, but now there's sort of like when you're driving in a car and you don't have the radio on and the windows are up and the air conditioning is not running, and all of a sudden you can hear that rattling sound that you didn't hear with all those other conditions occurring. And you have that frustrated instance of, I need to find out what that is while I'm thinking about it, because I'll forget once I get out of the car and then it'll continue to be a problem later. Like that sort of rattling sound is happening with the skeletons inside. And the skeletons also seem like a little abashed because they're just kind of like, I know, I'm so sorry. But you do finally arrive, at least having checked the map, I will say maybe 40 minutes of a journey, not too bad. And the reason why it would have taken about 40 minutes is because the map that you see, unfortunately, does not line up perfectly with the landscape. Something with the Weird West whether it's a genuine shifting of the landscape itself, or perhaps activity from the giant worms that seem to be moving about seems to have shifted landmarks, shifted reference points from the map. So as opposed to about a half hour's journey, made shorter by way of the assist with the tumbleweeds, you find yourselves 40 to 45 minutes later, and with the time you had spent in town getting close, but not quite touching sundown, arriving outside of a very obvious closed down mine. Looking about for any form of activity. Is there anybody else in the vicinity? Should we be on the lookout for creatures immediately? A little bit of freedom for you guys without needing to roll dice. It is barren in this space. Even this far out, there does not appear to be a lot of cacti, as if for whatever duration of time the persons of interdiction have had a water drought has been going on, that they've even come this far to harvest such plants to gain the moisture within. But standing outside and it's interestingly called the Bookworm, WYRM, Mining Company's number 3 site that is frightfully destitute. And you're standing here approximately an hour, maybe a little bit longer before sundown, knowing that somewhere within the mine is uranium-enriched water.
During the ride, Aunt Gladys has decided that everybody's face is dirty, so she took out a white handkerchief from her pocket, done the old lady lick the handkerchief, and then cleaned everybody's face to cast aid on everybody, so everybody gets 5 extra HP to your total for the low price of having Aunt Gladys clean your face.
Splendid.
Thank you, Aunt Gladys. I'm sorry. I thought the toy was the devil.
That's okay.
Nope. I do want to make clear that all 4 skeletons are under the direct control of Dr. Friendly, but one skeleton in particular observed this happening and was in the tumbleweed with you when this happened at one point, and just kind of like looks in the direction of Dr. Friendly, looks at you, looks at Dr. Friendly, and just kind of like gestures like as if to say, "What about us?"
I'll clean your face too. Come over here. All of the nieces and nephews come hither. And it's just like
it's like it's kicking its leg as if you were scratching a dog in the right spot. And its jaw falls off briefly, but that was a few minutes ago. Now you find yourself standing outside of the Bookworm Mining Company's site number 3, and there are an odd assortment of rocks dotting the exterior, ones that you can't imagine would have been placed here at the time the mine was in operation, as a result of it just being inconvenient for mining equipment to come to and fro. And whatever cart might have been going in the very obvious 2 entrance or exit spaces, those rails from those carts are wildly out of shape. It's as if somebody took flat, twisty ties, mangled them together, and separated them again as they wave off into the air. Something has certainly disturbed the air around this space, possibly even recently. The mine itself yawns. And unfortunately, I mean literally, for in the Weird West, this shit happens. The mine goes, and those tracks kind of wiggle ever so slightly, and then they come to rest again.
well, no time like the pheasant. And she will cast almost like a bit of like broken plant material kind of forms together into a spiny shield on her arm. And she is going to just start walking down. She's taking out her largest pair. Oh, I just wanted to cast that, not use the ability.
Darn you, D&D Beyond.
Yeah, darn you, D&D Beyond. I just wanted to burn a spell slot. And then,
Too much to ask.
And then we'll get her largest wooden knitting needles out. One of them. One for clobbering. And cast Shillelagh on that and just start heading into the mouth of whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
And Gladys has lived long enough.
Unsurprisingly, the mouth closes. As you approach, it goes And you hear sort of like a rumble, like, and the mouth of the mine goes, and all of a sudden rocks come tumbling down a slight hill that this mine shaft was built into. You see that those rails kind of shift ever so slightly in an upright position and then rest against the ground once again, with the mine opening closed around it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, should we ask what its name is? I mean, it's just, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing, but it's a mine.
Excuse me. Can you open up, please?
And you see there appears to be structures that I'll call out now at this point. To the left and right of the mine entrance, one appears to be the very dilapidated remnants of a small office that was built against the hill that the mine is brought into, and off to the other side is something of like probably a tool or a storage shed, and holes in those structures sort of like, you guys being nice to each other? My dogs are going wild. They're scared of this mine shaft situation. Well, holes seem to make themselves present in the remaining wall structures and sort of like open ever so slightly and peek at you guys, and then shut again, and then open ever so slightly. And you see the mine shaft itself sort of open ever so slightly and go, and I'm gonna ask for anybody that might speak either Elvish, Sylvan, Primordial, or Draconic to raise their hands. Elvish, Sylvan, Primordial, Draconic. I had a feeling that would probably cover a few of you. I see 3 hands. All right. Now, working together, I'm going to assume that at least 2 of those different languages are covered. You hear that loose rumbling, and without any, because there's so many of you, without any dice rolls being necessary, you work out with the remnants of so many root languages being spoken at once by this rock, very, very real rock creature. You get the notion that it, in all of those syllables I uttered, very simply asked, password? And it every now and then just kind of like wink peeks at you with one of those like building eyes, and then
Is the password? Because that's what my grandkids told me not to make my password.
Did you say that out loud?
Yeah.
In what language?
Sylvan.
In Sylvan. Interesting. Okay. So you said password in Sylvan. And it you you see one of the eyes fully open and look at you guys. He goes, for another full 60 seconds. And then it yawns, the mine shaft opening wide open. And over the course of another 30 to 90 seconds, the 3 of you work out together that what it had stated was something along the lines of, oh, well, I guess I should update that. Yeah, you got it. Come on in. Here's what's upsetting, however, is as it opens wide to a pretty functional, like hasn't collapsed in at all, mine shaft shape, with like the windows no longer present, forming eyes out of the 2 structures to the side. You see those eyes open wide all of a sudden, and then it utters out the shortest statement possible, and yet you all understand immediately that what it has just told you is, oh no, they're coming. You all need to get inside right now. And right at the same time that you realize that, despite it having been made up of 3 different languages that you all had to confer on previously, and Dr. Friendly still having no idea what they're saying unless he hears from you 3, you all get the notion that it states a warning of that nature, and then the ground itself from all directions outside the mine begin to rumble. And my dogs are fighting behind me in real life.
No, that's the mine rumbling. It's the mine
Yeah.
rumbling.
Yeah,
That's very good at VFX. I'm well done.
they're all
Well, everyone-
yes.
Well, everyone, I think it's time to go inside the mine.
We got
It
the
is.
pass-
Okay.
We got the
In we
password,
go.
Oathnell. It was password.
It was. Oh,
He needs to update that.
You gotta check those things, you
Yeah,
know.
let's
Like
get
it's
in.
probably an old mine and didn't know any better yet. So you begin sprinting inwards, and it's around that time that you see darting across the front of the mine before you get to it, but more as like is a 23-foot long, probably only about like 4.5 feet wide, very brown sandworm ripping itself out of the ground and balloon arching directly in front of you from ground to ground, covering the entrance of the mine only so long as to recognize, oh shit, that's a big worm, before running into the mine itself. Turning about, you see that the mine shaft quickly closes behind you, and you begin feeling that rumbling occurring atop, to the side, and behind you as you now stand inside of, admittedly, a pretty damp mine mouth. You hear from now the walls all about you that sort of like, and as you begin slowly walking over the course of 3 full minutes, you hear, I can make myself harder to pass through for like a maybe 5 minutes, and then you're on your own in Rockspeak. Yes. One thing that was missing from the geological survey maps provided to you at the town hall, no, not the town hall saloon, by Augustine's maps acquired from the town hall saloon, is the nature and structure of the mine itself. Not just where they're located, but what's going on inside. And for that reason, as you pass within, I'm going to ask, when you get to the first fork in the road, as opposed to saying, let's try the left or the right one, to give me a fate check. If I could have one volunteer raise their hand real quick, and you are going to give me just a standard D20. Now, Humphrey, you were just a little bit slower off the jump than Idly.
I
Now,
think Humphrey's gonna give us a more interesting role, though. I think that's fate. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Everyone dies.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
18.
Oh.
18. Okay.
We're alive! The mine hasn't eaten us! Hooray!
Audience at home, if you're still watching with us, session complete. Now, with an 18, you do have to run quite a ways into this mine structure. It's a lot of guesswork, but you're going just based on general vibes. If you're looking for a well, you undoubtedly have to go down. For you see, the hill I didn't fully describe prior to going into the mine maybe only rose in total about 40 feet off the ground. But you don't think that that would be sufficient for wells to be going into the earth if you were just to walk straight back. So you, at each fork in the road, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 directions, you continue on the path that would lead down. And by way of sheer luck, you do eventually find yourself in a space that is maybe a cool, and it is rather cool now that you're down here. At a glance, at a guess, 600 by 1,000 feet in length and width. It is dark down in this space. For convenience, I would imagine that any of you who have a difficult time seeing in environs such as this one have either dark vision or have taken it upon yourselves to light lanterns, crack artificer-made glow sticks, or some other means of seeing in this space. But it is well worth noting, if you were keeping track of the distance that you crossed, that you've probably run about a good mile forward and down, and that you're probably a cool half mile down. You are much deeper than most persons usually brave going into the earth. In this space, a little bit more descriptive text, and then I'll stop cutting Chris off with my long explanations. Yeah. There are both mites and tights as far as your eyes can see, either with dark vision or the assist of natural lights. You can hear the sounds of dripping water, but at least in this large cavern, you have not yet come across what appears to be a large cistern or well of sorts. There's no obvious path forward, and the rumbling has only gotten louder over the past couple of minutes. How do you want to proceed in your search for the uranium-laden water?
Just wanted to confirm that we can hear the worm coming behind us.
1,000,000,000%.
Maybe we should prepare ourselves for a fight with a pretty nasty sandworm. That's what I'm thinking. I will deploy my skeletons and find myself a nice stalag is up and light is down, right?
Tight, stalactite. Hold on tight on the
Mhm.
ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
They're the pointy down.
All right, then I'm looking for on the floor. I'm taking cover behind one, and I'll take I'll take Ringo, the archer, with me, and I'll have the other three deploy with Bunt, who is yep, got their spork out. All right, and to help Bunt out, and oh my beloved Undertaker companions, do not hesitate to sacrifice yourselves to keep us alive.
Again.
They all salute, and oh no, the skeletons salute, and each of them loses a single set of finger bones in the action, but it doesn't hinder their combat capabilities.
Excellent. And meanwhile, I'm assuming that I have dark vision. I didn't see any water around.
Because you have dark vision, I will allow for you to roll perception to see if you saw any obvious sources of water that you could try. You can hear the dropping of water. It's gotten much more humid the deeper you've gotten into this cave. Your perception score.
I rolled a natural 20, so that's a 21.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. For narrative purposes, as you readied for battle, you knew you didn't want to be too close to the entrance of the cavern. You ran back, carefully moving throughout the stalagmites. A couple of hillocks of rock, you went up and over a ledge or two, you moved about a full 100 feet back into this very large cavernous space. And as everybody turned about and spread out ever so slightly to be wary of each other in your spaces, as combat was no doubt about to ensue, you begin to climb up atop the stalagmite you indicated previously, with Ringo the archer coming with you, and you look back towards the entrance of the cave. You're waiting for that first emergence of a worm through rock and dirt, and as you turn around to just kind of get like a real quick glimpse of what might be behind you, you see a venerable underground ocean. And floating off the surface of this great water that, quite frankly, is probably only about like 20 to 30 feet behind you because of the natural 20. It's very close. You do see what appears to be yellow-brown vapor casting the dimmest of lights just outside the surface of the water and forming sort of like misty, whimsical shapes that would scream to you radiation and a magical environment. Like there's a couple of people playing modern day football, but they're made of like radiation steam, and 100 years before it would like really be popular or invented. There's like somebody on one of those rideable lawnmowers, but it's also like a griffin made out of radiation steam. It's a wildly whimsical sight, and you know you're so close to the water. You just need to point that out to Benny, who has the gallon jug, and then either consider whether you're fighting in this space or if you need to get the hell out with the water again. Nat 20.
Oh, well, do we have time to do, I don't know, I can't judge. I mean, how soon before the worm gets to us? Because there's a huge lake of water behind us. Oh, and it's there's a patch of radiation in there too. You can't miss it. It's got yellow. Well, you might miss it. I can see in the dark. I don't know the rest of you can. But how soon? What do you think, Auntie?
So I did misread the spiny shield spell. It's actually a reaction. If the DM is nice, can I do something else with that spell slot?
You know what's cool is Auntie Gladys knows her capabilities very well.
Okay.
So yes, you may.
She, instead of doing that, which would have been stupid, she casts Find Familiar and creates a bat with blind sense to be her ADA compliant seeing eye bat in this cave. So
I'm very here for it.
So she can't see it, but her bat can, and can kind of like guide her that way. I'm as blind as a bat.
So you have that going for you, and I believe we had two people readying themselves for battle, Auntie Gladys and Benny. Upon arriving at the scene, running back to this space and hearing, "Thank you, Undertaker companions, for getting ready to protect me," or whatever it is that Othniel had shouted out. Were the two of you specifically similarly readying yourself for a potential encounter, or were you looking about trying to find water?
Benny's probably looking around trying to find water and wasting no time if he sees any. we'll
Mhm.
just fill up the jug because it's like this is the main goal here.
I will say, for your benefit, because Benny would or not Benny, Othniel would undoubtedly have shouted out, "Oh, all the stuff I just said," using the power of a natural 20 in that moment where you're searching. I would like for you to give me an evens or odds luck check. And before I ask you, here, give me a second, actually. Before we do the result of that, Aunt Gladys,
Yes.
you started from the beginning. Once the mouth of the cave was closed and you were inside, you brought your bat out. You were no longer hampered by the inability to see with your natural body because you once again had an 80 A bat assisting you.
Yes.
And you arrive in this space. It seems pretty obvious that there's a threat right behind you, but you know you're looking for water. Would you have been readying yourself for battle, or would you have been looking for water?
Gladys is a very crafty old lady. She can participate in a battle from many distances so long as her labubus are upon people's persons.
Mhm.
So, and at least be maybe helpful that way. So what she'll do is, yeah, she'll go help Benny real quick, go grab some water, but she can still be active no matter the distance.
Perfect. And the reason I asked is I wanted to sort of get a genuine give you guys a chance moment, because the comedy of it being, okay, let's run in, and immediately discovering the water and asking, how much time do we have before the worm shows up, is that obviously the worm is about to show up.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was curious about whether or not that was going to happen. But what we're now going to determine is whether or not there's a brief moment to get the water at the onset of the fight, just in case it's not going that well, to then be able to flee appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
Benny, odds or evens?
I'll go with odds.
Odds, excellent. And Aunt Gladys, odds
Yeah.
or even? No, I mean, why would you not say evens? Never mind. There'll just be a second chance in case this one
Yeah.
doesn't go too well. All right. Odds was stated. I'm gonna roll a d20. That's a 2. So now, Alex, sorry, Aunt Gladys, odds or evens?
I'll choose the evens, because never tell Aunt Gladys the odds.
Nice.
I think at this point that Benny's just kind of struggling to get the jug out of the bag.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe you didn't fully take off one of the two saddlebag straps, and so trying to squeeze it out of the smaller opening isn't going as expected, although
There's some panic.
Yeah. Okay. 18. So, it is because of Aunt Gladys, what Othniel shouts out from the top of the stalagmite and says, the water's right here. And Benny, you're trying to move in that direction, but you're stumbling ever so slightly because you're trying to pull the jug out. And Aunt Gladys runs, picks you up, and goes stumbling through the rocks, getting you to the water as you're continuing to pull the jug out. And you arrive just past the layer of stalagmites and the mound of rock that separates you from the water. At the time when you hear rock itself being shunted, thrown aside with a sandworm, sand rock, you would imagine that was a difficult struggle for the worm, comes blasting through the surface alongside another one, and another one, and another one. However, these are smaller. If the one that was outside was a little over 20 feet long and about 4 feet wide, these ones are more like the length of an average arm. And there are about half a dozen of them, although they are still roughly 1 foot thick. So 2 to 2.5 feet long and one-ish foot thick little wormy guys come blasting up out of the rock. And at first it's underwhelming. You get the notion that you were expecting something much larger, much more imposing, and much more worthwhile to tell a story about in that moment. Until they open their mouths and the literal blender of teeth, going back as far as you can see into the dark maw itself, probably a good 6 to 8 inches without light disappearing into that mouth, is 900%, and I'm not exaggerating, 900% spinning teeth. And they begin jump slithering in your guys' direction. And standing at the edge, we are going to put you in a position to very quickly attempt a survival check to get down, fill the jug before a fight begins. So go ahead, Benny, or to be more funny, go ahead, Aunt Gladys, carrying Benny down to the water. Make that check.
Can you repeat that one more time? I was reading an
Yeah.
ability.
Please roll survival.
Survival. Okay.
Yes. This is utilizing your wisdom of how to safely navigate spaces in a dangerous situation.
13.
13's not too bad. You stumble and slide ever so slightly. There is looser rock the closer you get to the water. And both of you begin immediately feeling as if you've stepped into an infrared sauna. If you weren't sweating from the indoor humidity previously and relieved by the cool nature of this overall cavern, coming this close to the water, it's like the difference of a single foot. Like one moment you're in the cool, the next it is a sauna. You get that close, you're down at the edge of the water, and we're going to begin our fight. 13 wasn't sufficient to rock it right out the bat, but if I could have everybody please roll initiative.
And because of my spork of warning, you will get advantage on your initiative roll.
Ooh, we all
Phenomenal.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well,
Is it glowing?
I'll roll again.
did?
It's just really, you know what? I click it again, it becomes a giant whisk. They're just more things keep happening to it.
All right, it was a 13, the first roll, I believe.
14.
Oh, you can see our rolls though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we're rolling initiative. All right, what do we get? Aunt Gladys.
14 for Aunt Gladys. This isn't my first rodeo.
Of course not.
Aunt Gladys has somehow gone from Appalachian to old-timey newscaster.
You see?
You see here?
And how? All right. Alex, Harvey, Bunt.
It would have been a nat 1 because I'm still having an existential crisis, but instead it was a 9.
Even better. And finally, Humphrey.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Well, I'm happy to report that Aunt Gladys, standing at the edge of the water with a half gnome, half elf in your hands, covered in many interesting devices that have yet to reveal themselves, you are at the very top of the action.
Oh my
You hear approximately 5 to 7 bullet blenders turn on in the rocky space you just left behind, knowing full well that your friends totally got it. And as you stand at the edge of the water, you begin to see numerous forms coming at you, made out of the steam. Some of which look like they're seeking a handout. Others look like they're running at you with weaponry. There's a few that seem like they want to sell you an insurance subscription. But numerous forms are coming to obstruct your ability to focus on seeking the uranium-laden water. What do you do?
Well, Aunt Gladys is going to... Let's see. That wasn't what I was expecting to have to do right now. I think Aunt Gladys is going to... She doesn't have anything to get rid of fumes. We did not plan for fumes. Let's see. Wild shapes. What's an interesting shape?
You know, Chris comes right after you
Yeah,
if you
can
want
Chris
him to
go
first while you
first?
think
Because
about
I
it. Yeah.
have a lot of
Mhm.
things and was not anticipating phantom vapors to be running at me. Oh no, the vapors.
Totally get it. Nobody suspects the phantom vapors. Okay. As you're confident that Benny and Aunt Gladys are behind you taking care of the water situation, Dr. Friendly, you look as these whirling dervishes of Toothy Ma are rushing now at your whisk-laden companion and 3 of your martially equipped skeleton mates. What do you do?
I call out, but don't resist this. And I call upon my arcane powers, raise my goblin-y hand and fire an enlarge spell at Bunt.
I Mario sound level up.
Oh, yeah.
And I am bigging you. And if you don't resist it, I don't have to roll a damn thing. You just get bigger.
Do
And
you
you
eat
go
the
up
mushroom?
one size category up, so you go from medium to large, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So that gives you an extra D4 on damage.
Thank you.
I believe it
Okay.
does other stuff too.
Advantage on strength. Strength tests. Everything the targeted creature is wearing and carrying changes size as well.
The
And
spork also enlarges.
Mhm.
Yes.
The battle whisk is now much larger. Okay, cool.
and
Any
then
questions? Yeah.
okay, and then for bonus action, I give the command Ringo fire on the one that's closest to Bunt.
Okay. Go ahead and if you want me to, I can, but go ahead and make a longbow, I assume, attack on.
I have him set up already. Here, I have a short bow attack. Here, I'll roll with him. He's +4. I was planning on doing the enlarge spell on one of the skeletons, but I think Bunt's a better target. Okay, here we go. Short bow. That probably misses. That's a 9.
9, unfortunately, does not hit one of these tiny sandworms. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know why it's automatically set to advantage. It shouldn't be. And that'll be my turn.
By the way, you cast that on Bunt, and John was the skeleton who was previously affronted by not having the treatment that was being granted to the others by Aunt Gladys. And you see John, like, sword out, shield up in front of him, like, notice that Bunt gets really big, and just, like, drops armaments down by his waist and turns around and just does that, like, shoulder shrug thing at you again.
Sorry, John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's it's living before the undead. I'm sorry there, buddy.
That kind of hangs his head, and you see, like, one of the teeth fall out. Okay.
Don't worry. If you're smashed, I will bring you back.
Another tooth falls out.
I pat him. I'm sorry.
All right. Aunt Gladys, knowing full well that you would probably do really well in this fight, and then if it's still going on in, I don't know, like 6 seconds, you'll definitely be effective that way. What do you want to do right this moment? Gnome in hand. Sorry, gnome elf.
Well, there's a moment where Aunt Gladys had a normal thought of like we could tie a rope to the bucket and then throw it in and pull water up that way so we don't have to get close to the radiation. But then wild Aunt Gladys showed up again in her own head because now that's how she rolls. And she remembers that one time that she saw what one might call a Bigfoot out in Appalachia, like a big, large ape. And you know what? Big, large apes got more HP than Aunt Gladys, or at least comparable. So what she's going to do is she's going to turn into a small version of Bigfoot, a full-on cryptid, and she's going to take the jug and go over to the radioactive water as an ape.
In Aunt Quatch form, does Benny hand over the jug? I assume you know the proclivities of Aunt Gladys, and you do realize this is not yet another threat. Do you hand it over?
I just kind of put my hands away from the satchel as she just kind of rips it out of it and just like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now the next question is, am I still being manhandled by a Sasquatch?
No, she'll put him down.
Okay, cool.
Did you put him down first? Because I think it would be really weird for the fingers that were holding on to you to all of a sudden get much larger and heavier.
No, definitely after she wild shaped.
1000%. Okay.
Yeah.
So setting him aside and taking the jug, do you wade in?
No, we do not wade into the vapors. We go
to
the seashore. I didn't pick an animal with a swim speed for a reason.
Well, then you don't get disadvantage on the resultant Constitution saving throw, because getting close enough to dip the jug into the water, probably shocking nobody in the room, gives cause for the unadulterated heat from the mists to subsume your entire body and the respiratory system, at least at its surface level, because even if you're holding your breath, you can't help but have those vapors come in uninvited. So let's get a Constitution saving throw. You can make it straight as opposed to disadvantage because you didn't jump in the flood water, and that's okay.
Yeah, look, I didn't choose to be a shark, although that would be pretty cool. That'll be a 16.
16 is more than sufficient to only take half damage. Now, rad damage is pretty fun. It's going to act an awful lot like force damage, but also sort of like acid. And as a result, you only take That's not too bad. Only 9 points of weird force acid damage. As the vapors themselves sort of are actually pushing you back. They're not trying to wrap you up. They're not attempting to pull you down. They're actually attempting to shove you back from the direction of the water.
Oh,
If you were to take in, it's difficult to understand what it would look like as somebody from your time to see a vapor-made creature adjusting an antenna on top of an RV also made of vapor, or like the barbecue happening next to that, but with like ancient level people operating the barbecue equipment, all made of radiation vapor. It seems like they're just having a chill time made of vapor in this weird cavern. But as soon as you came forward and attempted to engage with the waters, not stepping in, but attempting to take some, they're like literally trying to get you to stop doing that. But you succeeded on your Constitution saving throw. You're not rebuffed. And since you haven't taken an action yet, you can absolutely dip the jug down.
yeah.
It is a short mouth or narrow mouth, so you can blow into it like an instrument moonshine jug. So it will take the entirety of the 6 seconds to get half full. I would like you to make a baking knowledge check. You can also roll history if you don't have that skill set.
Yeah, I don't got that, but we'll try history.
Mhm.
That'll be 8. I don't know nothing
8.
about bacon.
You know, not knowing nothing about baking, if you're just trying to make a non-magically oriented cake using uranium-laden water, a gallon was probably too much to begin with. Yeah, she said just for safety, like try to bring back as much as you possibly can in case you spill or lose some on the journey. But you get a half gallon just in 6 seconds of holding this thing down with your Sasquatch strength. That's probably a sufficient amount if you wanted to get away from this crazy acid that's leaving behind its like field day activities to stop you from engaging with it. Your call though.
She'll gently back out of it and make the decision if she wants to go back and get more later.
Sounds perfect. Well, we now move on to the blend worms, and there are approximately 5 of them at the moment. I will say that
I forgot to roll
4.
for my bat.
Ooh, the bat would go immediately after you.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me that Aunt Battis
Yeah.
is also in the space, or Bat Gladys. Please continue. Don't let my puns get in them.
Bat Gladys is gonna go give Bunt the help action because it's a bat.
I'm imagining the bat just like lands on top of her head to Ratatouille guide the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Do you mean Batatouille?
Ratatouille.
If you didn't already have DM inspiration. Yes. I don't think Chris has it yet, so your second instance of DM inspiration can go to Chris. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, Batatouille for your next round is all primed and ready to go. Actually, your first round because you haven't gone yet. But 1 blender each is going to attack the skeletons, and then because you're the interesting one here, 2 of them are going to go after Bunt. So I will roll once it's not my turn for how the skeletons are doing, just so it's not taking too much time. But while the 3 of them are engaged with 3 of them, 2 of them come after you. They are not going to flank because they don't have those mechanics built in. They're just jumping for meat, sort of like those really scary fish. Like I don't know what they're called, but they just like attach themselves and use their razor teeth to suck onto stuff and eat. That is going to be a 14 to hit.
No, I swapped that one away with the spork.
Excellent. You very effectively whisk Spork Spoon it away, and the next one is that'll be a 16 to hit.
Okay, that one will hit me.
All right, got it. You feel that it attaches pretty firmly to that nebulous space, like above your breastbone, but below your shoulder, not directly centered. But it like attaches, and you hear sort of like that ding of appliances beginning to work as it then very efficiently starts shoving whirling teeth towards your chest. And as it does that, that will be 4d6 damage. It's fine. It's totally fine. Don't forget you have this 5 from aid. That will be 11 points of slashing damage. And you do hear sort of like that as it's getting through clothes and some other stuff. And for the second attack, this one's going for sort of like your waist, just above your hip bone. That was the second attack. Never mind. Okay. So that is it for these little guys. After which we very proudly have Bunt, and now you have a worm attached to you.
As Bunt is not British, from another region far across the sea, to go into a rage, she just looks at the whirling dervis attached to her and just goes into a rage. Is gonna. Oh, and I have advantage because of Bat Gladys, so I will attack this one and try and just stab at it with my spork. Let's go.
Excellent, phenomenal. That looks like it would be awkward, just trying to stab down at something attached to your chest. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna try and like prize it out. I got a dirty 20 for the first attack.
Go figure, that hits.
Who'd have thought it? That's 8 slashing, magical slashing for the first attack. Oh, plus a d4, right? Because I'm huge. Because I'm
Correct.
big.
You are currently Dr. Hooge.
Plus another 2. And then because I have cleave on my great axe, my great spork, for I am a master, I will then roll an attack on whatever one, the other one that tried to attack me, and see if I can hit that one.
As it goes flying away midair, because you did bat it away, it's still not far enough for it to miss the opportunity to be cleaved. Go ahead and roll to hit.
Heck yeah.
That one is a 23 to hit. And that one will be
yeah.
that one will be 1 plus another d4. So that'll be 3 slashing damage on that one.
Okay.
And then I'm going to attack again.
Yeah.
Have at it. Now, mechanically speaking, the help action would be good for a single attack, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, but now I shall attack recklessly.
Excellent.
Because it's off me and I'm mad about it.
Mhm.
Oh, so close to that 20. Only a 26 to hit the worm.
Jesus Christ, yes.
That will be 13 plus. That'll be 16 damage.
That's the one that you already hit that's attached to your
Yes.
chest. That
Yes.
is actually the precise amount of hit points for those of you who might have been adding up and keeping track to completely dislodge it. And you see like a little bit of a extra bit of tail that it had at its end sort of like fall off. And as a result of that action, it seems as though it's like weirdly lost power and it completely stops moving, lying just limp on the floor. And you do see that the other ones are gnashing their teeth against the bones of the skeleton, and we'll resolve that in just a moment. They collectively stop for a second and go, ah! And then continue. All right. Anything else?
I do that. I just, as they scream, I scream, and it just keeps going back and forth, and then it's now Ben.
For the remainder of the 6 seconds, that's exactly what happens. And Benny,
just screaming.
Ant Squatch has filled half the jug of water, and you saw that like fully forming like a big crowd of multicultural, multi-species, like spirit fog people from cross generations all sort of like collectively got together and pushed to get her back away from the water. But she does have half a jug, and you hear a weird fight. It's just a weird fight happening on the opposite side of the rocks. What do you do?
I guess I'll run up to Ant Squatch and just kind of motion to give me the jug
Which she does.
if she's willing to relinquish. Quickly try to shove it back in my satchel and just kind of go, if the worms want the water, let them have it. They have friends to play with in there. And then I'm going to like click my heels like Wizard of Oz style and then just kind of fly up into the cavern a little just to get a better view of what the fuck's going on.
Phenomenal. For the record, your spoon-wielding friend is twice as large as they were previously and literally batting like living blenders out of the air. And there are 2 skeletons that are really focused on the fight on the ground, and one of them that seems sardonically just a little bit too focused on Dr. Friendly, whilst being half-eaten. But cool. That was an object interaction. That sounds like an activation that would undoubtedly cost, at most, a bonus action and some movement. Do you have anything else you want to do before we move on?
Bonus action, I will summon my Eldritch Cannon in flamethrower form.
Excellent. And is it with
yeah.
you, or do you cast it out before you to the battlefield?
One more time?
Is it with you up in the air, so you can be like raining death from above?
At the moment, my bonus action is going to be conjuring it in my hands.
Got it.
And then be ready to use my next turn. So yeah,
Phenomenal.
it's just like this dwarven inspired, like hexagonal shape, like cannon, holding it with two hands, just ready to go.
Cool. I love it. All right. That brings us all the way back to Aunt Gladys.
Yeah.
The jug has been pulled away from you. You heard inspiring words about getting the hell out of here from your
Mhm.
companion Benny. And what do you do?
Aunt Gladys is gonna stop being an ape. So she's gonna,
Short-lived but wonderful.
as a bonus action, she is no longer a Sasquatch.
Mhm.
She's going to kind of like turn to look at the fight. How far away is the fight from us at this point?
It's up probably like 7 feet of loose rock, and then another 5 to 10 feet forward, like through stalagmites.
Okay.
We'll round that down to 5, just for
Actually,
mechanical
she'll
purposes.
hold
Yeah,
off
5
on.
and then 10.
She'll hold
Mhm.
off on dropping her wild shape, and I never play characters with wild shape, and she's just gonna Sasquatch monkey up to the top, stand dramatically and scary, maybe thud on her chest a bit to draw the attention of these worms,
Mhm.
and then she's gonna drop her wild shape and cast summon bestial spirit
Ooh.
towards the fight, because that's the smart thing to do.
Point of order, because I haven't read too much about 2024 druids, and I believe that's the build you have. Are you able to cast spells in your wild shape form?
No, that's why she's got to drop it. She's no longer
Got
an
it.
ape after she climbs, and that's a bonus action to stop.
Solid.
So bonus action, stop doing that,
Mhm.
and we'll cast summon beast.
Sounds great.
She's gonna summon. Let's see, like a cute little like wicker fox appears in the melee to get into the fight. It does also have what looks like human teeth, like the Labubu.
I'm going
Yeah.
to take away your DM inspiration.
Oh, now we don't
Can't do
like
that.
the whimsy.
I love the whimsy. I just didn't want to think about that. Okay. So all of that happens. Good.
And then it takes. What does it take for me to command it?
Chris, you're up next if you want to think about what you're about to do.
Chris.
I already
Yeah, it
know
takes
what
no
I'm
action for me to command it to bite those worms.
Excellent.
And
So the little fox jumps in front of you, and I assume it makes sort of like a woody, resonant, but also weirdly pronounced because of the teeth, like sort of like foxy sound.
Yeah, it's what does the fox say? If the fox is made out of wicker with human teeth, imagine that at your own leisure.
Dr. Friendly. Bring myself back out of that reverie. Dr. Friendly.
All right, I'm gonna square up, raise my finger, my goblin-y finger, and fire a ray of sickness
Nice.
at the remaining worm that's engaging Bunt.
That one flew probably like a cool 10 feet back, flipped on its side ever so slightly, having taken damage, and is now on the ground going "Argh!" as if it's about to attempt to leap back on its turn. But it takes a bolt of Ray of Sickness. Is that a saving throw for me?
Hang on, it's actually a hit roll.
Oh, sweet.
That's a 25 to hit.
What the hell, you guys? We're all rolling really well. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Yes, that hits.
25 to hit, 19 points of poison damage.
Wow, okay. That
And-
one, by the way, it's fully focused on Bunt, and it's going "Argh!" as it explodes. But please continue. Yes.
Oh, it's dead. Okay.
Yeah.
There's what is it? And has a poison condition until the end of my next turn. Well, it's definitely if it's dead, then it was poisoned and now it's dead. Okay.
1 square inch of its remains will make a saving throw if we get to your next turn. Don't worry.
Actually, there's no save. It's just
Okay.
the hit roll is all that's required, and then it's poison. And I say, I took care of that. Bunt already. So Bunt had 2 on you, and you killed 1, and I just killed the other one.
Yep. Point of order. I made 2 successful attacks against your skeletons, assuming that even if they had shields, that their AC would only be about like 14, 15, I believe.
14.
14, perfect. Then I made 2 successful attacks, and one of the 2 skeletons, not John, we love John. One of the 2 skeletons took 12 points of slashing damage,
They have 13 hit points.
and the other one took 8 points of slashing damage. So it sounds like they're still upright.
Yep.
They're just missing some accessory bones. Who needs a collarbone, right?
Sorry?
They just might be missing or otherwise have gnawed down accessory bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main thing is, as long as their skulls are fine, then I'll rebuild them.
Right.
They're vulnerable to bludgeoning damage, and otherwise, nothing relevant for this. But yeah, armor class 13, but with shields 14, 13 hit points.
Excellent. Next time, my worms will have human teeth so that they can deal odd blunt damage. But sounds like you still have your entire cadre, though, if you want a bonus action attack one of these guys. Yeah, there are 3 remaining, and they're all facing off against your skeletons.
Yes, I will have. I'll give Ringo the command. Actually, no, he'll just keep following the command. I have a bonus action, but I'll just sit on it. But here's Ringo. With the bow attack. Sorry, one sec. There we go. That's 14. Does that hit?
That does just hit these guys.
That does 8 points of damage.
Okay.
And I'll do that to the one attacking John.
Okay.
And the big fella, the big worm hasn't come out yet, right? Or it's there, or it's about to come out?
You are asking how much time do we have before the worm shows up. Works just as well as you saying, we still haven't seen the big worm yet. You are really hooking me up with.
All right, no problem.
Tonight.
That's the end of my turn then.
Now it's the worm's turn.
Oh,
Go ahead, Alex.
I have two creatures that go after me. It's okay. Battis is going to continue giving the help action, so you don't have to reckless at least on one attack. And then the summoned bestial spirit is going to charge forward and do a bite attack on the worm that's attacking the beetles. If it's still there.
You needed your action to do that, though, right?
Nope, I just give it a command and it goes. No action required from me.
Never mind. We're good to go.
Spell is pretty good.
Sounds like. Please continue.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there was one. I forgot that I'm a goblin. So I can do nimble escape as a bonus action. So I'd like to hide.
Sure.
And that's a stealth roll, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to hide behind the stalactite.
You rotate ever so slightly around it. Excellent.
And then my turn is over.
24 to hit from Gladys's fox for 11 damage.
You know that hits.
For a chomp.
You know,
a cute little human toothy chomp from the wicker terrifying fox.
Who doesn't love that? How much damage was that?
11.
Was that to the one that was attacking John and had already taken damage?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. That one looks like it's probably going to attempt to run away on its turn because it's taken a proper amount of damage to make it reconsider its decisions at the moment, despite having low intelligence. Okay. All right. Chris, you're hidden question mark?
Sorry?
You rolled stealth for me?
Yeah, I did. It was a 21.
Okay. Are these digital dice?
Yes, they're
I
in the...
D&D Beyond is really on your guys' side tonight. Okay. Now for the worms. Humphrey, can I please have you roll a d20?
Yes. Roll 20. Give us 20 worms.
Oh,
3.
3 is precisely what I wanted because now you are going to roll a d4.
Sus. That's a 1.
You're lucky. Only one additional worm of this size pops through the ground, revealing itself into the combat space. So whereas you had 2 uninjured and 1 injured really tiny worms, you now have 3 uninjured and 1 injured really tiny worms. Yeah, you guys should stick around and keep fighting. The 4 that are present, the one that's taking quite a lot of damage does turn and dip for the one of the previously established holes because it's a little bit too weak to try to dive in and start a new hole to dig into the ground to get away. One threat automatically removed. It is retreating. The other 3, Benny's up in the air with a flamethrower. Can't wait for that. I can't see Dr. Friendly. Gladys is now standing way back and not the most obvious of targets. I hate to do this to you, Benny or Bunt. They're not the smartest of things. So one of them is for sure going to turn and attack you. I'm going to roll for the other 2 to see if they stick with the skeletons or if they scent blood and meat and go for you instead.
The summons is also attackable.
The what?
The summons is also attackable.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is they're going to stay on the skeletons because I rolled very poorly for their reconsider their situation check. And so, Bunt, the attack roll against you is a 13. I believe
Get
that.
out of here, man. Get out of
So
here.
you continue to bat these worms around. Dramatically speaking, we'll just say for narrative imagination purposes, the other 2 also like jump and are bound away from you in the direction of the skeletons. And midair, they go, might as well. And they roll.
They shrug, look at me, go, might as well. And
Yeah.
just keep...
And just open mouth, keep going towards the skeletons. We'll resolve that in just a second, so that once again we can get the interesting part of the action on you guys. So ominous threat from Dungeon Master about appearance of additional monsters on the monster's turn. It is now Bunt's turn.
I yell back to someone who I can no longer see, someone who's in midair, and someone that is radioactive, holding a jug of radioactive water, and go, are we going? Are we staying? Worms, blender.
I think we were.
You guys can
supposed
speak freely. Yeah. I don't care if it's not your turn.
I think we were
I
supposed
guess-
to get out of Dodge.
I guess a DM question is, was there only one way in and one way out? Or are there multiple?
Now,
Can I see from flying?
a keen-eared Humphrey might recall that I indicated 2 obvious entrance exits when you were out on the surface. And you guys went into the one that's probably a fetish for some people by entering through the mouth. And the other one must lead somewhere. I'm going to have you roll a perception check to see if you notice any obvious vents, because you might just have an invention that could get you and your friends out.
That's an 8.
Phenomenal. Now, looking into the repertoire of your mind, all of the obvious things that you could potentially invent to assist with the situation, you come up with a brilliant idea for a high-powered drill inspired by these little blender monsters, and you begin plotting the way in which you would eventually R&D, test, and then have such a drill ready for production. Obviously not ready right in this moment. So looking about the space, you don't see anything that looks like an additional exit, at least not with an 8, but you come up with that elaborate idea that if you had a really cool drill, you could have powered your way up and through the ceiling.
Neat.
Benny, what are you thinking? You're usually pretty smart. What should we do?
Don't forget, it is Bunt's turn, but I'm allowing for this little brief aside with like even the blenders. They've like sat down next to the skeletons. Everyone has tea, and we're having this conversation really quickly.
I was going to yell really fast and then keep attacking, and then my friend sort of zoned out. So I guess I'll just keep attacking.
That's actually what's happening, not what I just described. But you get the notion that there's radiation mist, exactly like what I just described, is a tea party between skeletons and blender worms.
Okay, I'm going to attack the worm that is attacking me, because that seems reasonable.
Prudent. Go ahead and roll for attack. 14 or higher.
Oh, double nat 2s though. I'm going to use an inspiration on one of those because that was terrible.
Sounds good.
A 14 to hit them.
That just hits.
Yay!
Mhm.
14 plus 4. 18's magical slashing to that one. Is there another one close enough that I can cleave into it?
I will say, for expediency purposes, recognizing that we're almost at a 3-hour mark, yes.
Amazing. Well, that one's going to miss. That one was a 12, so the cleave doesn't work. I will attack a second.
It does, but you knock off just only the corner of one of the little teeth jutting out of the mouth. No damage.
I somehow feel bad about that. Like, that seemed petty of me, and I could have done better. I will recklessly attack on the next one.
Sure.
18.
Definitely hits. This one is taking considerable damage. Let's see what you do here.
14 damage.
That is more than sufficient to and you say cleave. What form is the spoondent in currently?
I think it was
Is it still
was
mist?
a spork, but now it's gone
Okay.
back to like a spoon, and it's even worse because I'm just like slashing damage, but with the edge of a blunt spoon.
Now, did the performer Gallagher ever make his way over to UK like pop culture awareness? Do you know who Gallagher is? He was famous with an asterisk for smashing things with a big hammer. And you kind of do that to this blender worm. Picture a giant wooden mallet and a watermelon, but instead of a watermelon, it's a big sand-colored worm full of teeth. In a way that's even weirder and potentially grosser, depending on the context, than the wicker machinations of Auntie Gladys. So just
See-
a bunch of sharp teeth go everywhere.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is disgusting, but the entire time I'm doing it, I'm just like keeping one eye on that wicker wolf with human
Oh, yeah.
teeth, because that's way more disturbing.
If Alex will allow for it, that wolf is making nothing but direct eye contact with you while it takes care of its business. Yes.
Of course. Auntie Gladys also told her to keep an eye on Bunt. Bunt seems like Bunt's gonna get into a lot of trouble.
Once you notice that eye contact, you feel the labubu that I assume you took back, or unless you rejected it, it sort of like wiggles ever so slightly on your hip or wherever it is you clipped it to. And is there anything else you want to do with your turn?
Maybe disengage next turn if that shit keeps happening, because we're not doing this. We're leaving.
Okay, cool. So that's it for you, Benny. You have a flamethrower. You're in the sky.
Yep.
You're thinking about Apocalypse Now, the movie. What do you do?
So there's no roll for attack. It's just a DC that worms need to succeed. So I'm gonna make it this nice like low pass over all the worms that I can. It's a 15-foot wide cone, just roasting them as I can.
I'll say, because we're not using a map and the Mind's Eye Theater is as malleable as we want it to be, that there's definitely a way you can do that. And it might require over the 6-second period, like a flyby and then another flyby, really maxing out that movement speed to blast without hitting companions, including skeletons. And what's my DC?
The DC is looks like a dex save of 14.
2. Another 2. I have another D20 here. One moment.
If you're familiar with NADPOD, shout out to the 2 crew.
Hell.
The crew. And a natural 16. Okay, so 2 2s plus nothing, and a 16, which becomes 16. Yes.
Alrighty, so they take 2d8 fire damage on this one. First one is going to take 4. Second one is going to take 10. And, third one just completely misses entirely. So with that, I will finish my movement by landing at a remote spot. I'm going to turn my Eldritch Cannon Flamethrower into an Eldritch Cannon Force Ballista, aka Drill. And just gonna cram it into the wall at an upward angle, and then next turn it'll start eating away.
Nice. For the record, by the way, we forgot one of the 3 was just smashed into nothing, just a lot of wet teeth. So the one that you didn't do damage to, we'll discount it as that. So the other 2 have taken their respective amounts of fire damage. That brings us all the way back to the top of the order. The room where it was just kind of humid and cool is now very warm because flame has probably at least singed the ends of a lot of hair that was exposed in the middle of this fight for many of you, especially the skeletons with all the hair they're covered in. And Benny has begun drilling upward, not having shouted yet the plan for how to get you all up to the opening that he's making, but there will be a hole going upward, slowly moving forward, beginning in the next round. And I believe that the general consensus is that everybody wants to leave, and that is a burgeoning option. So beginning at the hear me out. Beginning at the beginning.
In the beginning.
There's the obvious way out. There's potentially another way out that can be discovered, or there's the Benny way. And then, of course, there are 2 more worms that need fighting. What are you doing, Gladys?
Well, aren't we like a mile under the earth? Are we sure we want to be drilling?
Half a mile, give or take.
Yeah.
A mile forward and about half a mile down if you go by the hill. So drilling will probably take a while.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
hear me out though. Does anybody have any magic or stuff in a bag of holding shaped object that might supplement that? I don't know what y'all have. But if it's narratively interesting and cool, we can always let the dice decide if it goes faster.
Or we could stay and just kill the worm and walk out. I mean, how's that?
Yep, that is an option.
yeah, Gladys has got nothing helpful for digging holes. Not since she buried her last 3 husbands.
Same time?
Over the course of like 5 years, she's had 3 husbands. They all tragically died. Question mark?
Wow.
But yeah, she has nothing to help in that situation, so she's going to command her beast to hold its action to bite a worm that shows up, and she's going to hold her action until a worm shows up to produce a flame.
Excellent. Actions held by both Beast and Bala. Chris. Friendly is hiding on the back end of a stalagmite, with 4 skeletons still effectively in the battle, 3 of whom have taken considerable damage. What are you doing? 2 of them have taken considerable damage. What are you doing?
If Bunt's still in it, then I'm going to continue to support her.
Mm-hmm.
So, are there any of the? Better question. I'm thinking there's like 2 worms left alive still, and we do not see the big one.
2 visible worms. The ground is still rumbling. Something happens on the worm's turn each round.
All right, then I'm gonna fire off. Let's go with a ray of sickness on one of the worms still engaged.
Okay. That's right. You roll.
Yeah, the skeletons are still following the orders to protect us all.
Sounds
so I
good.
won't change anything there. This is so irritating. Just like I don't know why Roll20 insists on defaulting to advantage. I have to keep turning it off. Oh, that was a terrible roll. That's a 10.
Shouldn't have turned it off. Unfortunately, that does not hit. But you do have DM inspiration, and if you
Oh,
say
can I use heroic inspiration?
you absolutely may.
So I get a reroll, or how's that work?
Reroll.
That would be an 18 to hit.
Wow, you hit the first time. Good job, buddy.
So that's 10 points of damage, and it's poisoned. So
I want you to. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
7.
You're the only one guessing, so this metric doesn't work. I'll just give you the one that took more damage.
Okay.
That was a poor example of coming up with a way you would decide between the 2 on the fly. The one that you just hit is in a similar state to the previous one that ran away. It's so damaged now that it wants to run away, and it will do so if it has the opportunity on its next turn.
Okay.
Anything else you want to try for?
Bonus action, I will hide again.
Do me a quick favor, roll 1 more d20. You were hidden when you cast that spell. It's possible you could have crit with the Ray of Sickness. So just roll 1 more d20 for me. And then you can hide.
That. No, it's a 24. I didn't crit.
Dang. Okay. So that one looks primed and ready to run, unlike the other, which still thinks it has enough stuff to fight.
All right.
Now it's the worm's turn. Our guest, Alex Harvey. Can I please?
I failed to stealth with that's 2 ones tonight. Wow.
Did you roll a 1?
Yeah.
You're not going to take damage. I have some good news for you. Stalactite directly above your stalagmite does, however, get dislodged just by way of the many minutes of persistent rumbling caused by the worms moving about, and probably like going into tunnels above, not finding you guys, and then continuing to move around until they do find you guys. There's enough of them that they tried a bunch of different directions, and only a few of them have found you so far. But some of the ones that have been rumbling above you dislodged a few of the stalactites. They strike the ground around and about you all. And as opposed to asking for a dexterity save, which would be mean, but I could do, instead, it completely obliterates the stalagmite that you were attached to, causing you to tumble forward, now being in the fray. And unfortunately, Ringo does take a little bit of damage. It's going to be...
Oh, I forgot. Ringo's got a fire as well. I keep forgetting. Here's Ringo's attack.
He takes 7 points of stalactite damage, and now he can attack.
Okay, he's still up. He has 6 hit points left. This is Ringo shooting. That'll be a 20.
Natural?
Dirty.
Okay. Yep, that's a hit.
All right, he'll do the same one I'm attacking because he rolls that way. So that's 6 points of piercing damage.
Okay. That one then, as it turns, it's like mid-turn as it's priming for its own escape. It is skewered into the rock. It's curious because there's not a lot of muscle, sinew, any tissue whatsoever on Ringo, but being propelled by the stalactite gave just enough oomph to the backhand releasing on the bow that it literally shatters through the rock, skewering this worm to the ground it was upon. So there goes that worm. Only one visible worm at the moment, folks. Okay.
Well done, Ringo.
Ringo holds up a thumb. Only the topmost thumb bone kind of falls off as he's shaking, rising from the ground, having taken that bludgeoning hit. Okay, cool. Bunt, if I could have you roll a random d20. No reason.
6.
6 doesn't cut it. 5 or fewer is what I'm looking for to be able to add additional worms. But you do feel like an extra crazy amount of rumbling along the ground, as if some of them might have the luck to come out next time. There's one worm left in the room, and as it lets go of the sort of like edge of the femur it's hanging onto on one of the 2 skeletons, it looks about at all of the combatants now surrounding it, and even with an intelligence of 4, knows enough about its own survival odds that it scrambles directly downward, chewing heartily into the earth.
Would you say I get an attack of opportunity for fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, skeleton scan as well, if you want that for them, Chris.
Good, because I got a 16 to hit, which I'm assuming hits.
That does hit.
To do a massive 11 damage.
You know, roll a d20 for me. I'm going to use massive damage rules here because it only had 7. No, it had enough remaining to only have 2 HP.
16.
16, you know, a massive damage chart. I believe that's enough to potentially have an effect that would either knock it out or do something else. Chris, were you to roll attacks of opportunity for any of the skeletons?
Yeah, the skeleton only rolled an 11 though.
Doesn't cut it. Okay. I'm not finding the massive damage table. For coolness sake, I will say that being shoved into the ground in which it was attempting to crawl into, 2 hit points remaining is sufficient for us just to decide that they shouldn't have picked this fight. It's done. I'm going to give you all a brief moment wherein I imagine Benny is going, "Don't worry, everybody, I'm making headway," chewing up into the ceiling. And unless, Benny, you think that your character would look down and see all the combatants, at least temporarily, no longer present, and want to jump back down to confer with the others.
He's too in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
In the auto zone.
No, at this particular point, it's just I'm babysitting my drill and protecting it, making sure nothing happens to it.
Up into the ceiling. Roll roll a natural 20 for me. Roll d20 for me, please. And
Sure.
it's purely based on whether or not it's a nat 20 to see if we can speed this along. But down at the ground, you still hear the sounds of a force-powered drill blasting its way up to the ceiling. The three of you on the ground and your skeletal and bestial companions are all alone for the moment. There are no additional blender worms, but you genuinely feel the rock turning below your feet. The hole is being dug above, but there is also one additional obvious way out, which is the way you came in. It'd be about a mile of movement back through the narrow tunnels. What's your guys' plan? What are you thinking?
Benny, do you think you can run faster than you can drill?
Probably. But I figured new hole versus wormhole. I'll choose my hole. And just go back to babysitting the drill.
Did you
I'm
roll
really-
that 20? And that's a no. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm super tall. Can I like see over where the vapors are and see if I can spot like any way out? Because Bun hasn't really looked over there yet.
You are taller now. I will say it would take like just a few steps through the stalactite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll quickly check.
You basically like get a grip, go whoop, pull yourself up to be looking over. It's one-handed. It looks super cool. And as you look over, make a perception check for me.
Help action
There's
from
enough.
the bat.
Yes.
Thank you, Bat Gladys.
And Aunt Batness screeches out into the cavern, and you feel as if you have sonar because you can see far and wide across the vaporous space.
I sort of go, but the echoing sound's coming from me, not the cavern. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I get a 22.
You get a
Didn't mean to
22?
roll that, but I get a 22.
Okay. You, in fact, do see that there appears to be, if you were to bravely get out into the water, along to the right, only about 100 feet away from the edge of the water, if you were to go just a little bit closer down to the right, you'd have to go through it a little because there's a bit of a cliff drop off, but just above the water's edge, way over there, there does appear to be a tunnel going sideways.
Now hear me out.
Mm,
Hear me out. You said the stalactites were loose.
sure did.
Can I knock one off the ceiling to make a platform so we don't have to touch the water?
Hell yeah.
I love this idea. How familiar with the Hulk are you?
I mean, I'm pretty familiar.
You know, he does that whole like thing to cause like a supersonic wave.
I was just gonna jump up and just smack the bottom with my
That's
giant spoon, but
cool.
also this.
I want that energy from you more than anything else. I imagine you speak to Batness or Battis and you say, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And Battis goes,
And then
As
the fox with scary teeth goes, and I'm like, not
Yeah.
you. Not you. Not you. You stay there.
So as you dig deep into the ground, as if you were Supergirl ready to just pound off of the pavement and you're forming cracks below you, you feel like Battis kind of prime holding onto your hair as well and lifts ever so slightly as you jump. I would like you to make an athletics check to jump the appropriate height. And why not? You can add the 1d4 from the strength bonus that you'd normally do for damage.
Thank you, and I do it with advantage because I'm still raging as well.
That is correct. And you get a +1, but unfortunately it's reduced by 1 because Battis is also pulling you upwards. Yes.
21.
I'll call that more than sufficient. You jump way up high into the air, and because you succeeded on that roll, there's no need to have you roll for attack. It is literally a stationary object. The AC is low. So you swing and you anime style into the side of a rock with your big old spoon, and that knocks loose a couple of stalactites. You get the notion that you have a reasonably decent start of a platform, and just for narrative drama, I'm going to have Chris roll a d20 for me. Now, I already laid out the stakes previously. A 5 or lower, you'll have additional combatants. If you don't get a 5 or lower, we can have Miss Harvey jump again and form the rest of the bridge.
Okay. 1 sec.
And then Humphrey, while Chris rolls to see if more worms show up, if I could have you try to roll in that 20 to blast all the way through the ceiling.
If he rolls a nat 20, I'll die.
I rolled a 17.
17.
Yeah, ignore the modifier.
17. Mhm. Deuces. Or is that two
That's
things?
that's
because you
two.
got 220.
That is 2.
Excellent.
Unless I'm rolling with advantage here.
Nope.
Okay, yep. It's a
do you
2.
have do you have DM inspiration remaining?
I never got any. I haven't made any good enough puns.
I'm pretty sure you did.
You did. You definitely got one.
You can
I
have
for sure gave
mine.
you one.
At least one.
Gladys hands over her inspiration.
Is it in the form of a terrifying wicker machination?
It is inspiring of terror. It's a wicker, a little wicker Mothman,
Furby?
but the
Is it Furby?
eyes.
Okay.
But no, it could be a Furby. It's a wicker Furby, but its eyes are human teeth.
No.
Okay, so that's an additional D4, right?
We're gonna go with 5e rules. You get a reroll
Okay.
because a 2 plus 1 d4 isn't gonna cut it.
Okay, that bumps it. Gives me a 16.
Okay. In the 6 seconds that transpired, your force damage blasting into the rock above, you do make it another 5 or so feet. You're doing it, guy. Half a mile ride, like nothing. And Chris let us know that no additional worms show up. So, Bunt, if I can have you make another soaring leap, and you, Battis kind of like is panting ever so slightly because obviously Battis put in a lot of work, just said, and then you feel her there, Battis's resolve just reset, clinches onto your hair, and is ready to pull you up to the ceiling, just like they did last time.
26.
Yes. Battis goes squee all the way up.
I go scream.
And everybody in the room, skeletons included, hear that echoing throughout the chamber. As you leap skyward, you do another anime smacking your kitchen utensil into the ceiling. Additional stalactites fall. You also see that amulet that you guys heard about and were looking for fall down deep into the middle of the water. That's or wait, no, that was a totally different quest that just happens to be in this location also. But yes, that super interesting amulet goes falling way deep out in the waters, and the mists form a sort of vortex around it. But that has nothing to do with what you guys are here for. Instead, a full bridge of stalactites now has formed into the waters that you could potentially safely navigate to get over to that other means of egress. Humphrey, really quickly, roll me 20.
Real quick, something falls down like, what was that? Plunk in the water.
Yep.
9.
9. Phenomenal. You make
It's slow going, but it's doing the job.
You actually begin to see as like silver and rare gems go flying past you because you hit a durable mineral deposit. So you only make 3 feet of progress, but you're getting there, buddy.
Can I grab anything that's kind of loose with the gems and the minerals? Just satchel.
Make a sleight of hand check as you just hold open the saddlebag as things begin to fall.
That's a 13.
13's pretty decent. Still not a natural 20, but you get about 3 pounds worth of stuff that falls by because you're still holding on to, with the other hand, the drill to make sure that it's pointed in the right direction of its own volition. It could turn sideways, go diagonal, and that'll totally impede the progress that you've made, which is about 19 feet of a half mile at this point. And
I'm doing it.
Look, Benny, I made a whole bridge and everything.
Gladys is just gonna grab Benny with her old lady strength. You're coming with us, kid.
What's that? I can't hear you over the power of my drill.
I've heard that one before.
You can have some DM inspiration.
Thank you.
And let's see. Alex Harada, I'm gonna have you spend, but then reclaim a wild shape to grow the wings necessary to fly up and grab onto Benny really quick.
Oh, I can't fly, but I'll do an ape shape and just monkey, Sasquatch
A winged ape.
climb.
You got it.
Sasquatch climb up a rock
Mhm.
face. It's fine.
Phenomenal. And then who hasn't done a worm check yet? I can't remember.
I haven't.
Can I have you make a worm check for me?
Yeah. Oh, I've used all my wild shapes. It's fine. Worm check. That's a D20.
1d20, please.
All right. Big worm. Big worm. Big worm. 4.
Well, that does mean we get more little worms.
I want a big worm.
Let's see. Humphrey, if I can get a d4.
That's a 3.
We got 3 little worms, and if you could roll a d20 for me to see how well the drill's doing as the Sasquatch comes climbing up. Okay.
6.
Damn. Okay.
Making my way uptown, drilling slow. Gems are passing, I'm sunbound. Na 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 na.
For your commitment to the bit, you can have some hero inspiration. If we were to consider the previous initiative order, a few things happen in quick succession. One, there is now a path that looks traversable that would take you to an additional cavern or tunnel. A tunnel which may very well lead back out of the mine without having to go the way that you know is potentially festooned with worms seeking your presence here in the mine. There's also a 21-foot long hole being dug half a mile upwards to get back out of this cavern space. And then there are now 3 threats who have sprung out of the ground. I will say, narratively speaking, that the Sasquatch has climbed very quickly up and is able to take the first turn if they want in this order to attempt to grab the gnome elf, even though they're going so far into the ceiling. They're making really good progress, and then they drop down appropriately to be in the right space to take that path. If they want, I will also say that the skeletons and the wizard were able to arrange themselves up on the top of the rise behind where they were initially hiding, so they're away from where the worms would have come out initially. And I will say that Bunt is most likely sort of at the front of the bridge, like the beginning of the bridge that they had just formed, encouraging everybody, come on! So the worms have just popped out. In our mental space that we've all undoubtedly either been successfully or struggling to imagine previously, the worms are not right next to you guys. So we have, at the very top, Alex. Well, there's 2 Alexes. And T. Gladys.
Gladys is going to try and grab Benny with her big old Sasquatch arms.
Benny, are you resisting being pulled away from your project?
I think it probably takes him by surprise more than anything else, so it's just a simple whoop.
Yep. Okay. Sounds like no.
At which point, my Eldritch Drill just kind of vanishes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. You grab on, and you want to try to leap all the way down to get to the right space. I can allow you for coolness points to make either a dex save or an acrobatics check or something of that nature to try not to take too much damage.
We're going to use our athletics because we are a big, strong Sasquatch, Granny.
Yeah. Okay. Somehow, using your ape strength to grip onto the edge of the hole that was formed, you sort of do like a swing maneuver. And let's get that athletics check.
22.
Part of the 2 crew. Let's celebrate that 2 crew, folks.
No, 22.
No, 22.
The double twos. No,
hey.
22.
Okay.
To like monkey Hulk jump.
Yep.
Okay, so Benny is screaming the entire time.
And as she goes, she's giving a command to her fox summons that stays up because you don't lose concentration as a monkey. She's like, "Get him, champ!"
Yep.
But in monkey.
And with its absolutely terrifying human teeth, goes right after it. Mechanically speaking, go ahead and roll attack for me.
Okay.
Yep.
That'll be 17 to hit.
That'll hit. Go ahead and roll fox damage. And your ape form takes 14 rounded down to 7 points of bludgeoning damage from the 66 fall that occurred. So only 7 points of bludgeoning as you land. Benny, that probably rocks your shit ever so slightly. You lose 1 pound of gems just falling out of the opening of the satchel, unfortunately.
And then
But you kept all the silver.
I would love it if these sheets for summons ever were good ever. Damn it.
Let's resolve that in just a moment as we shift over to Chris. You can let me know either in chat
6 bite.
or yeah, it bites. It does bite stuff.
All right, so do I notice? Well, yeah, I kept eyes on Bunt, so I notice Bunt tearing down a stalactite and leaping across the lake, right?
Yep. Like you.
All right, we're out of here. Gather my minions, and I'll have the skeletons are no longer engaged, right?
No, in the mental space I'd established in the few rounds between more worms coming out,
Right, the
essentially
last
you guys
one.
had all climbed up atop so that you would be primed and ready to do what's needed, whether the hole was really successful or if the path was made correctly.
Then
So,
they will carry me.
of course they will. So
I will have my necromancer thrown, and they will carry me across the water and assist
two of
anyone
them
else.
lay down. Two of them lay down in a formation you've had them practice before to form a palanquin, and then one picks up the legs, the other picks up the arms, and you are
Excellent.
bodily and safely carried across the rock bridge that has been established.
All right, and I'll check to make sure that. Well, yeah, I'll check to make sure everyone else is fine.
Perfect.
I will call out to Oh, hang on. Is this concentration? Wow. Oh, it is concentration. Okay.
Mhm.
But it's 1 minute. All right. Bunt, do you still want to be enlarged?
It's okay if you can do something else.
Oh no. I mean, like it'll last for at least a few more seconds. I just wanted to know if it was making you awkward or anything.
I would like to be big for a few more seconds.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll cast another one on her. I actually have a spell slot for that. Okay.
Cool.
Got another minute, and that's it. That's my
I briefly go bloop 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 and then go bloop 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 and I'm like, we're back.
That's it. Much as if you were back in your prepubescent state, experiencing changes in your life, it was sort of like a caught in an awkward in between of it shifting down then back up again, and you are now an inch taller than you were the first time.
And I get my
That's-
period as well, you know, just puberty things, I guess.
I'm gonna go ahead and just high five the camera because that's part of the journey. Yes. All right. Chris, is there anything else? I believe that covers your full action economy. I think we're good.
Yeah, we've got the water. There's an exit.
All right.
Let's be out of here before that big
Yeah.
worm gets here.
Let's
The
go.
plan is to move forward. The three worms busy themselves trying to fight a fox with human teeth. That's the worm's turn. But if I can have
the fox did lose get its concentration lost when I took the damage.
nuts. Okay. Then they are going to attempt to chase after you guys at the same speed that you're moving. Unless they dig under, which would be tough with the water in the way. Bunt, if I could please have a worm check.
The one, guys, we're gonna do it.
Natural one, natural one, natural one, natural one.
Natural 20. Sorry.
Heck yeah.
Oh no, this is better. This is better. Okay. I don't have it would be difficult to show the notes, but I want to let people know that there was a 1 option and there was a 20 option, and I would have been happy with either.
Yeah.
We're going to narratively have that function just outside the mine, however, because to me it would be more satisfying to reward that you guys are on your way out of the mine and then have this happen. So, natural 20. The worms didn't really get a turn. We were going to do you, then Benny. Benny, if you want to lend to the conversation that's happening, I actually have a really good idea, but I'm wondering if you'll come up with it at the same time that I do. You all run across the nebulous 80 to 120 feet using the Pythagorean theorem of space to get to the hole on the other side of the wall. And as you get in there, it's like a real tight fit, which is really tough for being a big old gal that Bunt is at the moment. And the skeletons have to really, really, really maneuver to make sure that you can still stay comfortably on your palanquin as you narrowly crawl through this space, because you're not going to get off your skeleton palanquin. But after only about 15 feet of uncomfortable movement, which if you've ever crawled through caverns is terrifying, so it is harrowing, you get to the other side, and I mean, it's actually a very well kept bottom of a mine shaft with a cart still sitting on the rails, and you're like, oh, what if we had tried just a little bit harder to find this from the surface? And you do have those rocket boots, and it is technically your turn next, Benny.
Well, I assume I'm still being manhandled by a Sasquatch.
You are.
By Ant Squatch. Okay, yeah, still kind of screaming the whole process. But if we actually do get to the point of finding this cart and I get set down so I can run of my own volition, then it'll be the idea of, you know what? I'm going to take the Eldritch Cannon, reconstitute it, smack it to the back of the cart, and go, load up!
Hell yeah.
And because I can't let go of it, I have to kind of straddle it.
I don't know how to mechanically do that except just to have you roll an attack with the cannon facing backwards. So have at it.
Can I give him the help action with my
Yeah,
turn that I didn't
totally.
really use?
Is he waiting until we get into the cart to
Yep.
activate it? Okay.
I mean,
We're going to jump briefly out of initiative order for narrative purposes because I'm not done. I'm going to slowly begin pushing the session towards a closure at the 3+ hour mark. But I have some more fun stuff for you guys before we close. So everyone's in the cart. Roll for attack with advantage.
Oh God, that's a 5 at best. It's
Have a heroic inspiration as I point out you've not plugged the battery in properly.
all right. Roll again.
They're transferable. Why not?
Oh, thank God.
Can back
This is not
Gladys
Adventure League.
Oh, good. 19.
19's way better. 19 natural or 19 modified?
19 natural.
19 natural. So way better than that once you add numbers. And now I'm not going to worry about trying to remember your stats just for fun. I'll do that later. But 19 plus numbers, the cannon points backwards and ever so slightly down. And with the assistance of your feet hanging out the back and with the boots, you're able to gently propel off the surface of the rail. And you wonder if this technology might be able to create, I don't know, like mag rail kind of stuff that would really up your postman game in the future because you're like just sort of bouncing gently, missing cracks in the rail, missing potentially broken and offset spaces, but utilizing the rail just for guidance purposes as you are propelled by your cannon and your boots upwards through the track. It's a Casper the movie level of like weird cross-connecting like cavern tunnels with potentially other mine shafts that once again are totally related to other quests that had nothing to do with the one you guys are on currently. And eventually, because the rocket is working so well, you blast out the surface from the shaft that would have been probably like a couple hundred feet off to the right from where you had entered through the mouth of the cave, if you will. And you know you're airborne for a few seconds, and that's cool till you realize minecart not meant for fly. And it does clatter to the ground some 60 to 80 feet later, and you all take a 1 point of damage. Just to mark that that occurred. The skeletons get jostled around, and as they begin putting themselves back together, you worry that maybe it's not the same combination of bones that they were previously, but perhaps they'll be better for it. Walk a mile on another person's feet, if you will. And honoring the nat 20 from before, we get to do the other thing that I have written down that I'm so excited about. A full-grown, look at the statistics for a purple worm, sandworm blasts out of the ground. And not unlike Sarah, the second NPC named Sarah, the Cherith, it looms up and out of the dirt, screaming into the air, just using its general presence and the vibrations of its coming through the dirt and sand. And as it looms forward and its mouth faces all of you, you do notice it's got a sheriff badge and a hat and a little gun belt. And it leans down and it's facing all of you. And it starts going with its own razor teeth. And it's like, actually, I'll have everybody in the group make an insight check.
Nope, Benny's gonna panic and fire his flare gun in its mouth.
16.
15.
16, 15. And I assume a natural 1 made for the flare shot.
12.
12. Okay. 12 is not sufficient, but a 15 is the bottom mark. So Bunt and Aunt Gladys are able to make out that it's chastising you. You're not able to get a good sense of the words it's saying. If you had like speak with animals, perhaps you would be able to get a good sense of what was going on here. But it's like gesticulating at you in such a fashion that it's like a person of the law telling you off for doing something you shouldn't have been doing. And it's right about that time that a flare goes blasting off in its face. Go ahead and roll for attack.
Let's see, that plus 6, so 17.
17. That does hit. What effects are caused by it being stricken by a flare, if you don't mind me asking?
It's fire damage.
Perfect.
And for some reason, my attacks and damages aren't clicking when I click the thing. Let's see, 2d6 plus 3. That's fine. We do this.
Technology, everybody.
So total of 13 for damage.
13. It takes that 13 damage. And you see that it uses a reaction to quick draw, just using some of the like little worm, like centipede tines along its carapace, the little revolver out of its own gun belt, and it fires a shot directly back at you in retribution. A cab. So that is going to be A 27 to hit.
It will hit.
That's okay. That's good to know. And this is 2d10 plus 4. 7 and 5. So 16 points of piercing damage as it fires directly into your main body. And then you hear it kind of gnash and gnaw back in your guys' direction again. And you see, once again, just basically using like gross little like centipede-like tines along its carapace. It just kind of like vaguely points at you, then you, and it's still making that like gnawing, mashing sound.
Aunt Gladys is gonna cast Speak with Animals and go, I want my lawyer.
Mm-hmm. That's right at about that time. I shit you not, is when sized between the full-grown like purple worm-sized sandworm and then like the 2-foot long like little juvenile ones that you guys were fighting against down in the cavern. Something in between that, but definitely skewing larger. You see 2 deputy worms come smashing up out of the ground. And one of them alongside them is another a smaller worm that comes out, and it's holding like a worm doctor bag. And it's attached to its like spine is a little stretcher with the one surviving worm that had like run away. And you hear sort of an exchange occurring between the deputy worms and the medic worm about how these individuals trespassed at the mine going to the forbidden waters. And you're hearing this whole conversation as I didn't come up with a pun, so just the sheriff worm is like still holding concentration on all you guys, but it has like the slightest head tilt as if it's like trying to focus its ear worm hole like on the conversation happening next to it. It's just kind of like, what do we got here, Cap? It ain't looking too good. We got multiple bodies down below. and just like a conversation a la like a procedural crime show is occurring between these worms. And then the main sheriff one just goes, the job never gets easier, does it? We got to handle these ones. They don't seem to be able to speak worm, however. This is going to be tough. And then you shout out, I want my lawyer. And they all turn and look in your direction. And they're just kind
And
of
you
like,
don't want the paperwork for an officer involved shooting, and you already got one. We can all
And you
make
don't
this
fall in-
go away.
you don't fall under the jurisdiction of worm law. And then you see like some sunglasses kind of fall. No, I'm kidding. We don't go that ridiculous. That's not written into what I had previously established. However, the Dr. Worm does kind of pipe up and go, ooh, we are sort of in a murky area where worm law is concerned. And the sheriff goes, don't tell me the law side of things. I'm here for order. And that does happen. That's not something I'm rescinding.
Okay, so real quick,
Yes.
Benny just hearing this commotion and talk back and forth, he's like, screw this. Click his heels and just shoot off flying back towards town.
Yeah, that's valid.
That's not invalid. I'm not, and you have the water, right?
I got the
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
panicking. I don't
Okay.
know what's going on, but screw this.
Okay. Panic fire ensues. I'm not going to have them actually shoot at you because it might kill you. Panic fire ensues from the remaining cylinders of the still humanoid-sized revolver that this big purple worm has. It's not bigger, folks. It's just a regular revolver.
Can we see it? Do we have to like squint?
Yeah, you can see it. Because I've skewed real ridiculous, as you fly away, it goes tarnation in worm speak. It does like a little spinning maneuver and reholsters the gun and like draws another one from its other hip to keep on you guys and goes, none of that foolishness from the rest of you, or you'll get the same. And one of the deputy worms goes, I don't know if a 1 in 6 hit is that intimidating, Cap. And he goes, shut up. And a little bit of like inter command speak happens for the next minute, and then once they finally rile down, a productive conversation ensues. And the worm, mostly speaking to Gladys, because the rest of you I don't believe are able to speak with worms, begins to communicate to you. You don't understand. We don't have proper jurisdiction in that town unless extraneous and great circumstances rise to take direct action on the people or its buildings. But bringing water to that place is the last thing anybody on this side of the Mississippi could ever ask for. That's right. We've heard of the Mississippi.
But what if the Mississippi moved?
One of the deputies faints. The Dr. Worm immediately begins to help, making sure that the deputy worm is fine. But the sheriff goes, location of that great river aside, we got bigger problems. You see, there's a sorcerer in that town that seeks to take over the entirety of the Western Hemisphere, and all they need is half a gallon of uranium-laden water to do it.
I like to think like it's when you're watching anime and like you understand some phrases that they can't really translate like from English to Japanese or vice versa. So
Yep.
all like Bunt and Dr. Friendly hears is like sorcerer and like half gallon of the thing that we've come to get. And I'm
Yep.
like, Dr. Friendly.
Well, aren't
What's
we?
happening?
Well, we can't really stop our friend who may or may not have that gallon of water speeding back if you're going to be holding us at gunpoint.
This is a good narrative moment for me to reveal to the crowd that Humphrey and I agreed that his contraptions may be subject to hinkiness checks. You're putting a pretty good clip between yourself and the rightful due process matter happening outside the mine with your blood flying in the wind behind you. And at this time, I'm just going to need you to roll a real good, let's call it a D10, because there is only a 10% on this first check at the quarter waypoint between you and town that something will go wrong with your rocket boots. And as you roll D10, don't tell us the result because I'm going to say bunt, high, medium, or low.
Hi.
High. Cool. If you roll a 10, so a 0 on the die, your boots break.
Mm-hmm.
7.
7, you're good to go, bud. So you're wee zipping through the air. You are bleeding from a GSW, but you're flying high. All right. Back on the scene that's happening with the others. Yeah, we got to do something about that. I think I might be able to set my deputies up to keep an eye on you guys, and it looks very much like I'm going to have to go destroy interdiction again. And you see the sheriff where I'm like, doffs the hat, is like sliding out of the gun belt and getting ready to go just like purple worm energy over at the town. And it seems to be doing like stretching moves too.
How far away has he managed to fly?
I had a real nebulous distance previously. Somehow, in the time it took you guys to calm down the situation and speak reasonably with the cops and the doctor, I would say probably like a quarter to a half mile.
Okay,
Actual
way too
direction of
far.
Yeah.
Way too far.
Mhm.
It's cool. It's cool.
If you pull a Shai Halud riding guy from Dune, you might be able to make it back to town pretty quickly.
That's what I want to do. I want to ride the
Okay. But the purple worm, you can tell, like the full stat actually probably shouldn't have been hit by the flare, but we just went with it for narrative interest. Purple worm is getting ready to head back and has instructed the one deputy that's waking up to take a breather while the other one keeps an eye on you folks because they got a lot of paperwork to bring in these trespassers. Unless you want to try to persuade him that you're of more help lending a hand as opposed to being captured in this place.
Don't you need some CIs who can
Damn.
slip in?
You're absolutely right. No, I can't make it that easy. I'm really bad at interrupting. The sillier I get, the worse I interrupt. I apologize.
It's
but
okay. I'm tired.
just for the sake of brevity, if I could have you roll a persuasion check.
Yeah, I'm not very good at them, but I'll try.
And pull out a full pair of sunglasses and put them on to give the help action.
Awesome.
That works. They say hopper on the
A
side.
natural 20. Aunt Gladys knows a lot about talking to cops for the wrong reasons.
For the sake of narrative interest,
I've covered up 3 murders.
I put the glasses on to Aunt Gladys as she's doing it.
So, for reasons that don't make any sense except Weird West, baby, Aunt Gladys says, "Don't you need some assistance? We can make pretty good CIs." And just kind of like shrugs and looks at the worm. And the worm sort of like gestures, even though you can't see eyeballs, as if it were to like look over and take a look at Dr. Friendly. And Dr. Friendly just kind of shrugs, and you see Bunt's hands reach over and put sunglasses on Dr. Friendly and all the skeletons. And as the worm looks over, like, where are you getting all these sunglasses? You see a sunglass case of holding pull out an additional set of sunglasses that Bunt puts on themselves. And all of them shrug at the same time at the worm. And the worm just like imagine, if you will, try to get emotion in a narrative acting scene from like a rock face for how little facial expression is on the captain sheriff, because I said both ranks, purple worm. Just like looking at all of you in turn, and then we snap cut to all of you at the same time, shy halluting, with like hooks or like ropes on the worm, and you're like standing as if you're all on a longboard surfboard in a line behind each other with that music happening, zooming across the wastes of the Weird West. And it's really bright in the daytime, but you look over to the left and you see Cher and Keanu Reeves like, whoa. Because even for vampires who have been alive for centuries, that's not something that they see every day, especially out here in the Weird West. And you guys are zooming back to town. We're getting real silly, folks. You can tell it's close to the end of the session. And now I'm going to do a best of 3 situation. We're going to take an average of 3 rolls. Humphrey, good news. You don't get advantage. That's not good news for you. That's good news for the others who do get advantage. So I need to actually, I'll take all 3 of you. If I could have all 3 of you roll a d20 with advantage, and we're going to take an average of the 3 highest results, or each of your advantage results, and then Humphrey, if you could roll 3 d20s, and then we'll average them, and between the 2 groups, whichever is higher gets the town first.
17 for me.
Okay, 17.
12 for Othniel.
11.
17, 12, 11, and then Humphrey. Roll 3 times.
Math is optional. 1 second.
By the way, the average from the group is 10. The average. Oh, no, wait, hold on. 20, 23, 48, so 40, it's like 12 and a half, 13. Let's go 13. It's the number of the other group.
I mean, that's just rude because I got 12.3 if that averages out.
All right, well, if we did it correctly, 40 divided by 3 is 13.3, so it's literally 1 point higher.
The only one that matters.
Okay. So, Humphrey, Benny, you're zooming back towards town, confident that your 3 friends are competent enough to get out of that situation in some way, shape, or form, because you've ridden along in a tumbleweed once or twice with Aunt Gladys, and you know the crazy shit that she's done and gotten out of before, if nothing else. You're flying along, you're losing 0.0001 HP from the bleeding out because you haven't healed your bullet wound yet every 10 minutes. So functionally, you haven't lost any health yet. Just know that it is a risk. And you're just on the outskirts of town. You're able to begin making out details. You're seeing people continue to decorate while more of them are breaking off to go get dressed for this evening's festivities. There's probably a band or something like that playing to kick things off for the festival of Repatriation Day. And it's right at about 100 meters away from the town proper that a worm, thank you, Bunt, because that is precisely what I was going to describe. A worm with the assistance of, I want to say, 7 different humanoid beings, including skeletons, and I guess a bat as well, riding on its back, rears up into the air, having been wiggling across the surface for the better part of 1.5 miles, and lassos, and whoosh. And I'll roll for it, just in case.
The worm is blessed. Blessed
Help
be
action.
the worm.
Roll with advantage.
I'll take that. Yeah. You put sunglasses on one of its teeth that you can reach, and it's gonna be.
The Who starts playing in the background, royalty free.
I'm gonna be fair. It's a +6, but I only rolled a 7 for my first roll, so I don't think a 13 is gonna meet your AC. And I rolled a 5, so 11. So we'll go with the 13. It
does
and
also. It is blessed. Did you roll the D4? It also has a wicker labubu now.
1. Okay, so 14. What's your AC?
15.
Okay.
Darn.
For narrative purposes, although the revolver is the same size one that anybody in the group would be holding on to, the lasso is big. It stripped off all of its sheriff gear, but somehow still had a big-ass lasso as it was running along the ground with you guys to get back to interdiction. You don't know what it would have done with that if it was just going to destroy the town. But anyways, the loop flies up and over you, and unfortunately, as a result of the size difference, you go through before it's able to catch and pull tight. I will say that gives cause for you to turn around and see a full-size purple worm that shot you previously with all of your companions riding atop it, still rushing at full speed in your direction. Are you making haste for town, or are you slowing down?
Oh,
Or
I'm making
wrong
haste for
answer?
down.
I'd love to hear it. Okay.
Safety in numbers, and I don't feel safe.
Okay. It's pretty dark at this point. We've probably gotten to the point where in the fiction we established previously it would be sundown at this time, but just for the sake of ease of moving about, lights are being turned on in town. As a matter of fact, there's a lamplighter, if you will, but they go around very specifically with a revolver and they just shoot the lamps that are high up along the streets to turn them on. America. And as they continue down the street and you fly in, thankfully, no, this was on the other end of town. You have to fly all the way back through town, and you hear as the purple worm goes preparing to barrel straight down the street where a lot of people and a lot of decorations are. To avoid more implications of bad things the sheriff might be guilty of, all the people begin sprinting out of the way because it's not hard to see a purple worm approaching. So all the town's festivities along Main Street begin getting torn down as you fly ahead by about 100 and then 95 and then 90 feet, arriving all the way down at number 10 for Shoemaker and Sons Shoe Emporium.
If the worm breaks, if I can get the worm to suddenly break, can I just cannonball myself towards him and try and tackle him out of the air?
Does anybody in the group think they would say, "Ooh, hey, wait, slow down. We don't want to destroy everything, or we don't want to potentially risk like casualties or what's that thing? Collateral damage." Does anybody think they would shout something like that?
Nope.
Okay.
I'd like to ask if I can see the water.
Make a perception check, and at this speed, I do have to say, with disadvantage. And it doesn't sound like anybody would shout something to give cause for the worm to break, so it's literally going full speed ahead, trying to stop the interception of the water.
Because really, that's all we would need to stop.
Humphrey, if you don't have DM inspiration, I'm actually just remembering that you are a post-delivery person dedicated to their cause, and you can have some DM inspiration if you didn't have it previously.
Okay.
That's a 13.
A 13. Was it inside the bag or did you have it out? I think it was inside the bag. Right?
I as soon as I got the jug back in my possession, it got shoved back in the satchel.
You can see the corner of their saddlebag satchel. You don't see the jug anywhere, but you get the notion that it's probably in there. But with a 13, you don't see a weak point that you would potentially be able to magic or otherwise attack. You just
How close is he?
bag.
How close is he to us?
In this moment, I'll say 70 to 75 feet at the time that he lands just outside the shoe store.
All right, he's out of range anyway.
Okay. Benny, you go inside.
Yep. Just
Okay.
panicking, going, I got it! I got it!
You got it? Okay, and she like literally pulls out like 8 $1 bills and is just going like, quickly, exchange.
Yeah, quick exchange, and as soon as I can, like if there's a back door, I'm running out of it.
Okay. So the worm is now slowing to a stop to be able to then turn and barrel straight through the shoe store, like not dig down and try to get inside, mind you. It's just like, okay, hold on. Like I am a targeted missile at the moment to try to stop this exchange. So right at the time where money enters your hands and you sprint towards the back room door, I indicated she went previously to get the cheese. You open it up and you see the most hauntingly accurately depicted, like, oh, this is like a witch lair, and there's like a few bodies hanging from the ceiling and there's like a bunch of blood pooling beneath them, like she was preparing for some crazy ritual. And you'd have to go through a lot of like really messed up shit, including potentially even going through like a vortex that gives cause for you to have nightmares for the next week, but it is only 20 feet to the back door.
Sure, heel click, fire off on my boots again if they don't fail.
Excellent. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, and I need you to just begin contemplating Benny's greatest fears in this world.
That's a 19.
19, that's not too bad. So you're not slowed at all, but Benny does begin weeping. And I want to say just a little bit of blood coming from both nostrils. Also, your fingernails turn green, and you go flying through the door in the back out onto what used to be a street behind. And turning around, it looks like just the cutest shoe store from the back. As a matter of fact, it's like one of the better built up buildings. And you smell something really nice. It seems like the bakery, two buildings or two doors down, is getting ready itself for the cake bake off happening tomorrow. Do you just keep hoofing it?
Yeah, just keep hoofing it and
You have
flying
a venerable
and
fortune.
going. I'm being chased by a gigantic worm. I ain't taking time to see the sights. Zoom.
Now, for narrative purposes, the exchange happened right as the purple worm did like a drift 90-degree stop for it to then reset and trundle forward. And she handed off the money, watched him go towards the back room for the better part of like a second, and then her eyes turned sort of like a deep purple as she looked back towards the front of the shop. And I'm gonna have Chris roll a d20 for me, and I'm going to roll a contested d20 to see who acts first, the purple worm or the witch.
Oh, jeepers, it rolled off a nat 20. It's an 8.
That's a 12 for me. So she, at full speed, the purple worm with all of you still on the back of it.
Is that technically an initiative roll?
No.
Damn it.
Well, okay, for all intents and purposes, it was a roll to see who acts first. Why? What do you got?
Because my spork would give him advantage.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get it.
That becomes a 14 if it is initiative.
Yeah, okay. The
Eat
purple worm wins.
building.
So narratively speaking, you see the witch seem there was a spell cast by Scanlan Shorthall semi-frequently in campaign 1 of Critical Role, where he hid things in like a pocket dimension. I don't remember what it was called, but it was able to just basically flick his hand and make things like appear, disappear as needed, just a very liminal space. And you see this sorceress do something very similar. With the jug of water in one hand, you see like the jug itself like basically disintegrate, and she holds just an orb of the uranium-laden water within, and it is giving some like little motes of that yellow misty energy off. And then sort of like flicking the opposite hand, you see floating additional components. There's probably like an entire flipped inside out rat still alive, like a full ass bar of gold, a box of Captain Crunch ripped from the future, and just like a couple of other components that you would imagine would go together. And you see that like as she stares at the worm, she goes to sort of like smash it all together, which I'm pretty sure that's not how magic works. But she sees that she has limited time to act before the worm is just upon her. And in all of that time where you see her goals finally about to be realized, the purple worm just goes and like chainsaw rips through the entirety of the shoe store front, the creepy witch layer in the back. All of you, please make wisdom saving throws as you rip through like the veil that was guarding the back room to potentially have nightmares for forever, and the purple worm is going to roll as well. It's fine. It meat grindered the witch.
I got a 17. I've seen too much of Auntie Gladys' shit to be scared by
Gladys
this.
got
That's
a
fair.
nat 20 plus 7 for 27. Gladys has seen weirder shit in her many years.
What about yourself?
Well, I got a 7, so
Oh no.
So I'm going to say each of you then see the same vision. And this vision is a Labubu not made of wicker, but completely made of teeth. And those teeth are bending as needed to grin as like fiery eye sockets fill, but the fire is also made of teeth. And Aunt Gladys, you're just kind of like, oh, Jessup, or like Jessica Labubu, you're so silly coming
You're
to me in
so
this
silly.
vision. And then even though you succeeded on the check, you are also crying and possibly shouting bunt. I'm talking about bunt, yeah. But you're seeing the same exact thing, and you're withholding the degree of fear that probably instills in you. But it's still absolutely not what you wanted to see. And Dr. Friendly would see the exact same visage, but the Labubu made of teeth is like slowly eating Ringo. And that gives cause for you to have, if you look at the Ravenloft guide, 1 point of fear that won't come into play because we're at the end of the session. But each of you now are like weep crying except for Aunt Gladys, and that includes Benny still flying off into the distance. Benny, as you're flying away, you're hearing lots of shouting and screaming because a sandworm has ripped its way through the town, destroying the festival. And then you hear the utter explosion of wood and nails and everything else of the entire shoe store exploding past you. For comedy effects, like a derby shoe, a rider's boot, like a workman's boot, the box of Lucky Charms or whatever cereal I said previously, all go flying past you alongside like random pieces of board and what have you. And you keep just flying out.
Yep. Yep. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this.
Excellent. And the worm got a 6, which means it also kind of collapses in on itself and is like crying and thinking about its mother or something like that for the better part of the next 12 to 30 seconds. But if anybody were to jump off of the worm at this time and like quickly check and like ready for a big battle, it wouldn't take too long to see just the gigantic blood smear in your wake from the sorceress.
I order my skeletons to check her for the $24 that she owes us.
Ooh, they're working together. I need you to use probably.
No, we don't have to do this. I'm just saying that.
Oh yeah. No, just for fun though. I imagine that they would probably have a +1 at best, but you tell me otherwise for an investigation check, and you can roll it with double advantage because it's the 3 of them working together.
Oh,
Again,
okay.
This is not Adventure League.
Actually, it's 4 of them, but all right.
Sure. One of them is providing emotional support to the other one who also failed this check.
So that's 2 rolls. I have 2 more.
Everybody else, we all know how Betty's
22.
22.
Yeah.
You find eventually bills that the bank would no doubt accept, despite them being somewhat torn, bone dust, and blood strewn. And much to your chagrin, you only find $22.
Well, darn it.
That does not split evenly 3 ways, which will bring us to our next quest. Just kidding. As I'm sure you can imagine, the town of Interdiction is not pleased. The entire festival that was being built up for Repatriation Day on Main Street, which is the only functional street in Interdiction, has been completely destroyed. Thankfully, the Cake Bake Off should still be fine tomorrow because it seems as though only one person's place of business was destroyed and everybody else baking a cake for tomorrow still had it in their own businesses. But the purple worm, aka sandworm, ceases its destruction with the takedown of Augustine Shoemaker, the Witch of Interdiction, briefly explaining with Speak with Animals still running just for narrative purposes that, yeah, we couldn't ever take direct action, but we always knew that lady was a bad egg. If she ever got water on her hands, especially uranium-enriched water, she was going to bring a whole an end to the entire Western Hemisphere. That's the only explanation I have for you today. I got to go home with my kids. And the worm just goes whoop, back into the sand. But Interdiction was spared its destruction this year. Speaking to the townsfolk, you get the notion that a shoemaker, or whatever name she might have been operating under in previous years, has for a long time been attempting to complete a ritual that for some reason had to happen in the general vicinity of Interdiction, Nevada, utilizing uranium-enriched water for many years, because this year was the town's 8th attempt at a Repatriation Day celebration, and this is the first year that the town was not utterly destroyed by sandworms. So the 3 of you that remained heroically are rather celebrated the next day. The festivities just aren't nearly as boisterous as they could have been, but it's still just a wonderful time, and you have $22, which is a venerable fortune at this time between you. Hooray! Does anybody have any closing remarks with how they want their story to end for this one shot?
So as soon as Benny gets somewhere safe and far away, he's gonna find the first post office that he's associated with, hand off all the letters from that area, and go, nope, just nope, and then just go about his life far away from there.
I have one last drawing to share.
Yeah.
Victorious
Nice
with
ball.
water.
Phenomenal.
And other than that, join in the celebration. Give $7 each to Bunt and Aunt Gladys and
Mhm.
take 7 for myself and take the $1 left over. If Benny's gone, then and we have ourselves a really nice meal.
Yeah.
I just rolled a d20. You at the meal and at the next day or weekend celebrations, you're able to get 13 signatures for people who agree to have you handle their internment processes once their special time comes.
Oh, I'm not staying in this town. This cactus juice will turn you into a chair. I'm not staying in this town. I would highly advise everyone else. Let's go someplace where it's clear that the uranium has gotten into the water, and that's why these people are different.
We'd all
Aunt,
say that this is why they're weird. What was that?
Aunt Gladys is gonna roll what's left of the witch's shop for all it's worth. Any rubble, any witchery items, she's going to put into her old lady bag, which is not a
Mhm.
bag of holding, but it seems like
No,
it could hold a lot.
legally distinct. Yes.
Legally distinct. I think what she spends like a lot of time building with all like this little witchcraft is she's gonna build a tumbleweed Baba Yaga house with and just take the time, and now we have a Baba Yaga tumbleweed that she spent all of her money on.
You certainly have time and resources. Yes.
Wandering
Phenomenal.
the plains.
And Bunt.
Bun gets incredibly drunk and has to ask so many questions about the tumbleweeds and tumbleweed cheese and how that works. Probably still doesn't understand how it works. Sees Aunt Gladys finishing her Baba Yaga house and goes, Gladys, you know I love you. I'm never getting in that fucking house.
Did you know it can lay
Um,
eggs? Have you ever had tumbleweed eggs?
I don't need to. Don't tell me. Just don't tell me anything else. I can't. Don't tell me anything else. She makes. But Bun is going to make a really nice actual bundt cake because it's the one thing she can make really well, the thing she's named after. And she makes a really nice bundt cake to enter into the festival. And it's still not as good as the fucking chairs cake. Which makes no sense, but she's got to respect the hustle because, like, they have no fingers. So they're doing it.
Right.
And
Well-
then leaves. I think with Dr. Friendly, she's just like, Dr. Friendly, we need to go.
Oh
We need to
yes,
go
I'm not
anywhere
staying
else.
here.
We need to go anywhere else.
Well, someplace, yeah. Fuck those chairs. Yeah.
Not literally though, because I saw someone doing that and it just wasn't for me. Like
Don't
it
think
was
that wasn't a
wild.
romantic interest option. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It was a bench and it just said like the bench was wearing a plaque that just said got wood on it and I couldn't do it anymore. And
No, no, no.
mm-hmm.
No, that puts splinters in the junk. Nope, no, thank you.
Ooh.
And with splinters on the junk, I think that's a wonderful note to wrap up this session on. Thank you everybody for coming along on this wonderful one-shot journey in this iteration of Weird West. Before we wrap up, of course, I want everybody to be able to show off their wares, aka let them know who you are once again and where they might be able to find you in your other pursuits. We'll start in reverse alphabetical order. Humphrey, what do you got going on?
Well, Humphrey Wintle Wickham, anywhere, everywhere. Not doing a whole lot at the moment. I'm currently developing a Deadlands Halloween 1, possibly 2 shot. Hopefully. We'll see how recruiting goes. Otherwise, find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. Have at it.
Wonderful. Chris, our cryptid, if you will, for your internet presence.
I'm still a cryptid on the internet. You cannot find me unless you know me, but you can find me on Tabletop Misfits once every 2 weeks. I'm here at this
Glad to
time.
have All right. Alex with an I.
Hi, that's me. I'm also known as Wild Hearts on all social media platforms. In exciting news, my podcast is officially released out into the world as its concept. It's going to be Dear Arcadia. It is a in-character fantasy advice show, whimsical solutions to your fantasy problems. There's going to be lots of opportunities for people to collaborate. You can literally write in fantasy drama stories from your own tabletop RPGs and have Arcadia, played by me, give you advice whose mileage may vary, depending on your situation, please let me know if you take that advice, and please send in follow-ups. If you're into improvisation and other role play, there is opportunities in that for casting for guests, so people don't have to listen to me yap for 20 minutes. They can listen to 2 people yap for 20 minutes. So it's very exciting. It's still in pre-production, but it seems like it could ramp up pretty quick.
We're very excited about that. And I'm sure many of the people here, including our new friend Alex, might bug you about that. So, and since I just brought her up, joining us from across the pond and being up very, very late, for which I'm so thankful, we have Alex.
Alex with an E.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for having me. I can't sleep, and this is more fun than sleep. I'm Blomner94 on all of the social media things when I bother to look at them. And I'll also be back on this channel in about a week and a half, so next week on Sunday, for a World of Darkness game where I play a very cool werewolf with 2 other guys versus, well, working with some kindred to prevent another apocalypse, maybe, if we're successful, if Sam lets us.
Really depends. And that's a pretty good segue to let you all know that, believe it or not, based on how silly things got tonight, I'm running a semi-serious horror story soon on Tabletop Misfits. To be fair, it's, I believe, 2.5 weeks from now, as we begin on Sunday, the 21st. But to your credit, no, that's 13 days. That's 2 days. Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Anyway.
Next week on Sunday.
next week. Because next week on Sunday is the 14th. Yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. I guess we're getting behind ourselves. I'm Sam. You can find me on most socials as Dungeon Samster, and I am currently developing the Night of the Worm, World of Darkness Chronicle for Tabletop Misfits. It'll be the every other Sunday period from Guardians of the Grid, our Power Ranger show. Once again, it begins on Sunday, September 21st, goes every other week, and we're very excited to show that off and share it with all of you. And we'll let you know if anything else is coming up. We're so grateful that you were all here with us tonight, and we hope to see you all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Are we up?
Oh,
We good, Alex?
Oh, that's me.
That's you.